Park. 6 in St. Louis with a freeze warning just west of the metro, but a warming trend begins tomorrow. Partly cloudy Friday, up to 58. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Spring is about to be sprung, and whether you're going to be opening up your windows wide to the world or having them closed to protect you from spring storms, you better have windows from Window World. Window World's simply the best for less. Why do we say they're the best for less? They're one of only 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval in the country. Just over 20 years in the business, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 72,000 of our neighbors and friends in the region. A double strength of glass. They truly are the best for less. Give them a call, 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800. Check them out at windowworld.com. That's windowworld.com.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. So many of us are suffering from allergies right now. It's time to get your home clean and healthy, and Zero Res is here to help. Book a cleaning in April and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, plus you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Get the jump on spring cleaning now. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Fox News Rundown.
Thursday, April 4th, 2024, I'm Alex Hogan. As the Israel-Hamas war approaches 6 months, there's heightened backlash against the Israeli government following the deaths of several aid workers from the World Central Kitchen in Gaza.
President Biden released a statement overnight basically saying he was outraged with the strikes against these aid workers. And he goes on to say that Israel is not doing enough to protect humanitarians inside Gaza.
I'm Lisa Brady. From child actor to advocate for children who don't always have a voice behind the scenes.
Why is there a systemized downward spiral? Why are there repeated horror stories? And how come no one has examined what we can do better to change it?
And I'm Carol Roth. I've got the final word on the Fox News Rundown.
A new crossroads for Israel's war in Gaza. This week's deadly strike on a convoy of aid workers in Gaza is putting new pressure on the Israeli government. The IDF and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued a rare apology on Tuesday.
Unfortunately, in the last day, there was a tragic incident where our forces unintentionally struck innocent people in the Gaza Strip. It happens in war, and we are thoroughly investigating it.
Those killed include 3 British citizens, Polish and Australian nationals, a Canadian-American dual citizen, and a Palestinian who were all working for the World Central Kitchen nonprofit. President Biden was reportedly outraged, and he quickly criticized his ally in the Middle East, saying that things like this just should not happen. Protection of aid workers was actually a priority that he highlighted in his State of the Union address.
The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire.
This military misstep comes at the same time as a success for Israel. The IDF strike on the Iranian consulate in Syria eliminated several Iranian military generals and an intel officer. The White House was asked to respond about this Damascus strike and generally about what kind of red line the Biden administration will draw when it comes to Israel's war tactics. And Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh and White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby fielded those questions.
The U.S. did not conduct a strike in Damascus. I would refer you to the Israelis to speak to their strike.
They're still under a viable threat of Hamas. We're still going to make sure that they can defend themselves and that 7th of October doesn't happen again. That doesn't mean that it's a free pass.
Israel is approaching its 6th month at war with Hamas, and as international pressure grows and the conflict rages on, Israel and its ally, the United States, continue to face pointed questions about what an end to the conflict truly would look like.
So this is likely a turning point in the conflict on 2 fronts. One, when it comes to the amount of humanitarian aid that's going to make it to Palestinian civilians.
Trey Yingst is a Fox News foreign correspondent following the developing conflict live from Tel Aviv.
and the second having to do with U.S.-Israel relations. Earlier this week, Israeli drones targeted a convoy of aid workers that were leaving the central part of Gaza around a city called Deir al-Balah. And these aid workers were from an organization called the World Central Kitchen. This is an organization run by Jose Andres, the world-famous chef, and they have been critical in delivering aid to Palestinians by sea and by land throughout Gaza. And according to the initial reports, there were multiple strikes against 3 separate cars, killing 7 aid workers, the majority of them being foreign nationals, including 1 U.S. citizen. And they were in clearly marked armored vehicles when this incident took place. Now, the Israelis have responded to the criticism from the Biden administration and from the rest of the world, basically saying sorry. We saw a rare apology from Israeli Chief of Staff Herzl Halevi overnight, and he said this was a case of misidentification. Ultimately, the Israelis will conduct what they are calling an independent third-party investigation to gather facts and details around what exactly took place. But what we know is the Israelis are responsible for these strikes that killed the aid workers.
And as you mentioned, widespread criticism. Do you think that this blunt criticism that we heard from President Biden is an indication of a growing rift between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu?
President Biden released a statement overnight basically saying he was outraged with the strikes against these aid workers. And he goes on to say that Israel is not doing enough to protect humanitarians inside Gaza. Because when you look at this from a 30,000-foot view, over the past 6 months, an estimated 200 aid workers have been killed inside Gaza. And it also speaks to the fact that the Israelis, while they publicly say things like they are only conducting precision strikes with high-level intelligence against Hamas militants and similar targets, the reality on the ground is much different. They are bombing all over Gaza, including areas that they've told civilians to go to. And now there is this question of if the Israelis will go into Gaza's southernmost city of Rafah, and if they do, the 1.4 million Palestinians that are currently sheltering there are at risk as this conflict grinds on.
What do you think is the growing effort? Obviously, we've been watching as there have been flyovers dropping humanitarian aid. There's this new effort for this port that is being built from the U.S. to drive in more aid. Do you see a growing effort in the region to get more aid as soon as possible, or is it the same continued effort that we've seen month over month?
There certainly is an effort to get more aid into Gaza, but the Israelis still control who goes in and out of Gaza and what goes in and out of Gaza. And they have an elaborate screening process they say is meant to ensure that weapons or contraband aren't making their way into the Strip. The United Nations and other large international organizations have pointed out that this process is slowing down the delivery of aid. They also say that they don't have the facilities to get this aid into the hands of desperate Palestinians, especially in the northern part of Gaza. So much of the infrastructure has been targeted, and now, as we saw with this aid group, there is a risk to the workers who are trying to basically deliver aid around the clock in whatever way possible, whether it be by land, air, or sea. And so the future is very uncertain for the Palestinian people inside Gaza. There are ongoing negotiations with the help of Egyptian and Qatari negotiators, but there's still a lot of distance, according to the people we're talking to, between the Hamas position and the Israeli position on what should come next and how any sort of temporary ceasefire agreement would actually take place.
Yeah, well, let's jump into that. So this week, the UN Security Council passed this resolution that's calling for a ceasefire, but the U.S. declined to exercise its veto power. So previously, the U.S. had vetoed some of these ceasefire options, saying that really they would only empower Hamas. And then the last ceasefire, which was proposed by the U.S., China and Russia actually vetoed that one. So what's different about the one that we're looking at this week?
So the one that we're looking at this week has to do with the Israelis really moving on their position as it relates to a few issues. One critical issue has to do with the exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners. Hamas is demanding that many top level prisoners, the highest security level prisoners being held in Israeli prisons, be released as part of this deal. Now, initially, Israel said, no, that's not happening. They understand now they're in a difficult negotiating position and likely will have to release people who are convicted of things like murder or large terrorist acts. But amid all of this, we talk about the 134 hostages that are still being held inside Gaza, and the Israelis say they simply are not going to end the war against Hamas until those individuals and the bodies of those who are already dead are released.
Let's move on and talk about another big strike that's making a lot of news this week, and this was the strike at the Iranian embassy in Damascus, which killed 2 Iranian generals and 5 officers. That's according to Iranian officials. So what do we know about that attack, and what is the perception in Israel about it? Was this considered a success?
So largely across Israel, we have not heard from officials on the record about this strike, but it's one of the most significant strikes in the Middle East since the 2020 drone strike conducted by President Trump's administration against Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Mohammad Sahadi was the target, and this is an Iranian brigadier general responsible for the weapons shipments from Iran to places like Syria and to southern Lebanon to supply Iran's largest proxy in the region, Hezbollah. And so the target is symbolic in many ways. It shows that the Israelis are going after the very top of the Quds Force, Iran's IRGC network of military officials, soldiers, and infrastructure across the region. The Israelis want to send a clear message to the Iranians that they will not idly stand by as these weapons are shipped into southern Lebanon, given to Hezbollah, and prepared to be used against Israel in a possible broader conflict that officials here think is more likely to erupt than not. And so the strike took out not only Sahadi, it took out his deputy, it took out 5 other members of Iran's IRGC, and a number of civilians in the area, according to Syrian state media. Iranian officials have responded to this strike, blaming both Israel and the United States. And so we've heard from Iranian officials this week, everyone from the supreme leader to Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, basically saying this attack will not go unanswered. But if they do decide to strike Israel, especially directly from Iranian territory, it would likely draw an Israeli response. And then there is this question of what comes after that, and if it would lead the region closer to a broader conflict. And so that's the big question on the minds of Israelis today and security officials across the region, understanding that each and every day the Middle East is one action away from a broader war.
And it is a conflict that you have covered extensively since the very first day of October 7th. What phase, what stage do you see this as being in terms of your continued coverage of what you're talking about day by day? Where's the focus point at this point? What are you looking at the most? And what is most surprising and interesting to you as you're covering this major, major news story?
So the Israelis initially projected this idea of a phased conflict, one that would have multiple phases and an end goal for what comes next inside Gaza after the war is complete. And so the first phase of the war was up until the end of October, when the Israelis were launching a massive air campaign in response to the October 7th massacre and staging hundreds of thousands of troops on Gaza's border. The second phase involved what we are still seeing today, nearly 5 months after the first phase ended, and that is Israeli forces operating on the ground in Gaza, clearing out Hamas and Islamic Jihad cells, and maintaining territorial control in order to launch daily raids in different areas of Gaza to go after Hamas. There is no phase after this, and that is the real concern also for the Americans, because if Israeli troops stay in Gaza, there will be an insurgency against them, one that Israeli forces have not seen in the history of this country. And 2, the fact that you cannot destroy an ideology. You cannot destroy resistance from Palestinians. And that is how they see this conflict. And they believe this so much they are willing to die for it. And they point to the fact that Israel has had a blockade on Gaza. They point to the fact that Palestinians are living under Israeli occupation. And so this won't simply be over when Israel destroys the remaining Hamas battalions.
Trey Yanks, a foreign correspondent based in Israel, covering this conflict extensively. Great reporting as always. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Attention business owners. Stop throwing your hard-earned money away on rent. Imagine owning your own building and saving thousands every year. Sound impossible? Not if you use General Steel. General Steel can help you save thousands by owning your own custom-designed building. Call 1-866-74-STEEL. That's 1-866-74-STEEL to see how much money you can save with General Steel. Our buildings come with a 50-year warranty, and thousands of companies from Fortune 500 corporations to startups have trusted the General with their building needs.
If you need to expand or start a new business, you really need General Steel.
I'm very impressed with General Steel. Everyone's been extremely helpful. I'd recommend General Steel to anyone looking to build a steel building.
Call 1-866-74-STEEL to find out how quickly your business can move into one of our quick construction kits, like a 50 by 100 perfect for the small business owner, or a 200 by 450 favorite of the Fortune 500. Just call 1-866-74-STEEL. That's 1-866-74-STEEL.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Next Gen with Danny Define.
I think we can all agree 2024 is only going to get crazier leading up to the election. But hey, it makes for some great radio.
Next Gen with Danny Define debuts Sunday night at 10.
So hop on the roller coaster with me every Sunday on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here. The anniversary of last year's April 15th hailstorm rapidly approaching. Let my friends at Eureka Contracting and Roofing inspect your roof for storm damage prior to the one-year insurance deadline. They'll evaluate your damage to determine if the loss is insurable. If it is, they'll walk you through the entire insurance claim process just like they did for us. Your only out-of-pocket cost will be your deductible. Plus, having your roof inspected before the spring storm season will give you peace of mind before the next big storm hits. Call Eureka Contracting and Roofing, 636-938-ROOF, 636-938-ROOF, eurekacontracting.com.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo from my friends at A Plus Plumbing and Drain, and they truly are our friends because they have done it all at our house over the years, from putting in a new faucet to installing a whole new bathroom from scratch. The team at A Plus has always done great work for a great price. A Plus Plumbing and Drain is a local, family-owned business that can take care of all your plumbing needs and specializes in new construction and home renovation. Call A Plus for your next project at 636-288-7126 or through Facebook at A Plus Plumbing and Drain.
Katie here, and I'd like to talk to you guys about Michael's Flooring Outlet. You could gain peace of mind with Michael's Flooring Outlet for your flooring and carpet installation needs. Their team of experts ensures that the job is done right the first time, providing you with attentive and personalized service. Just like my parents, you can trust them to replace your old carpet with beautiful hardwood flooring. Visit one of their 3 locations in Dardenne Prairie, St. Peters, or Creve Coeur, or check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Hello, News Talk STL listeners. This is Marissa Jones with Jones Air and Water Treatment. The Jones family has taken care of your air and water for 29 years, and now we are expanding to take care of your overall nutrition and wellness, too. If you're looking to take the next step towards your nutrition goals, give us a call for your free nutrition consultation today, 636-899-1040, 636-899-1040, or go to joneswater.com. You can be a filter or you can buy a filter.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
They always have great conversations.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I believe Prime Minister Netanyahu has lost his way.
I think Schumer's statements are wholly inappropriate.
The Biden administration is not a friend of Israel and doesn't care what happens to Israel.
President Biden's mental acuity is great.
It's worse than we even thought.
Exonerates President Biden.
That conclusion is not reflected in my report, sir.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Touchdown for the catch.
They're going to ball out. Week 2 of the UFL. Houston Roughnecks, DC Defenders. Sunday at 4 Eastern on Fox.
Kick it off, baby. Let's rock.
This is the Fox News Rundown. More up next.
This is News Talk STL on 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
So the LSU basketball team doesn't come out for the national anthem before their game with the Lady Hawkeyes. We'll see what Nate Lucas has to say about that Thursday at 10:05.
Weekday mornings at 9
on News Talk STL.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Congratulations to everyone at Connor Roofing. We chose the Connor Roofing team for our National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction without telling anyone at Connor Roofing, based on over 30 years of fantastic customer reviews. Rob and Kathy Connor and their team deliver very high quality roofing, siding, gutters, storm damage restoration at a fair price with integrity. Connor Roofing has had an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau for years. Count on Connor. For an estimate, please visit connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. CarShield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Thursday, there's no question that New York State is in trouble with hundreds of thousands of residents leaving. Generally, poorer folks replace them, so tax revenue drops. Just this week, there is a report spotlighting all the empty office space in Manhattan. Corporate tax receipts will soon recede as well. The state is sinking deeper into debt. Services will eventually suffer. The leftists running the city and state could not care less. They generally despise capitalism and the citizens who benefit from it. They want to collapse the criminal justice system and the financial system. And they are partially succeeding. California, Illinois, Oregon, Washington State are in the same position, destroying traditional infrastructure to create a socialist utopia where equity rules. The collateral damage, of course, is public safety. Some poor neighborhoods in New York City are now literally run by drug gangs who terrorize the defenseless with little fear of detention. No bail is, of course, a get-out-of-jail-free card. Governors Gavin Newsom and Kathy Hochul are playing Monopoly with people's lives. Miscreants, including hard drug dealers, have little to fear in the empire and other states. I hope the citizenry will finally wise up at the ballot box. But it is getting late. Back after this. You can now watch new episodes of the No Spin News live on Samsung TV Plus. Tune in each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV for breaking news, honest analysis, and the best election coverage in America. Please join me, Bill O'Reilly, at the First TV, now available on Samsung TV Plus. Start watching today on your Samsung television, Galaxy devices, or the Samsung TV Plus mobile app. Check out the No Spin News each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV, Samsung TV Plus. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a chilly home opener for the Redbirds and a breezy one, too. An afternoon high of about 50 degrees, some gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. Clouds increase this morning, dreary skies at times, and a slight chance of a shower this afternoon. Now, most of that misses Busch Stadium to the east, but I can't rule out a quick stray shower over the ballpark. Clearing tonight down to 36 in St. Louis with a freeze warning just west of the metro, but a warming trend begins tomorrow. Partly cloudy Friday, up to 58. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shea.
Somewhere around 400 feet off the ground. RPG came through the belly of the aircraft. When I first got out, I felt like my whole life had been smushed down to just medical appointments. I was going to occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy. We don't talk about the female combat wounded. These are our daughters and our sisters and our mothers. I'm not sure I would still be here if I didn't find the Friends and Wounded Warrior Project that I did. Because there was a long period after the injury where I really didn't understand why I was still here. I felt like I had lost everything. Wounded Warrior Project came into my life and taught me how to stand back up and get back in the fight. The truth is, I think we all have this strength inside of us, but until you're tested, you just don't know it's there.
See how Wounded Warrior Project empowers women veterans like Beth by visiting woundedwarriorproject.org/empowerwomenvets.
Talk radio made in St. Louis.
Very excited for what you guys are doing for the St. Louis community.
For St. Louis.
Relevant local talk.
Saying what we are thinking.
This is News Talk STL.
You guys are awesome. I love you. And it's a tremendous honor to be on the station.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Thanks for covering the local angle.
Come on, people. This is America.
We better open our eyes.
Really local, really good.
News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1,
and newstalkstl.com.
Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
You know, right now we hear a lot about just how divisive everything is, and that's absolutely true because there are hills that we need to be willing to stake our flag on and just fight. But here's the thing. The divisiveness right now, I think, is in the left's favor. So that doesn't mean we back down from anything. It doesn't mean we compromise principles on anything. But how do conservatives still maintain that appeal to those independent voters, those people who just pick one side or the other? Let's go through that a little bit later on today. Hey, good morning. I'm Mike Ferguson. You know, one of the divisive issues, especially as we've seen in the last set of municipal elections and local elections, is education. And once the far fringe left's idiocy and absolute extremism became known to everybody, well, they embraced more conservatives. And that's why we got majorities on like the school board in Francis Howell School District, and conservatives made inroads because we were protecting people from them. Well, now that seems to be swinging back a little bit. And in some cases now, we've got some groups saying, hey, hold on, it's not even just the domestic stuff. Is the Chinese Communist Party taking an interest in what happens in your kid's classroom? Well, maybe. On Wednesday's program, Alex Nestor from Parents Defending Education joined us to give us an update on what they've found and, more importantly, what you can do about it. Here's what she had to say. Interesting article, and you can find it right now in the Washington Examiner, and it is entitled, let me bring up the thing here. It is in time for some reason. There it is. Okay. It is entitled, "The CCP's Influence is Seeping into U.S. Schools." And it was written by Alex Nestor from, she does a lot of work, of course, with Parents Defending Education. And Alex joins us right now. And Alex, appreciate you being on the program here. Somebody may say, what are you talking about, Alex? I mean, that sounds like a big conspiracy theory. China, the CCP, they're worried about building a military. They don't care what's happening in our classrooms. And you're arguing, oh, yeah, they actually do. What are the basics that we need to know to start with?
I wish this was just, a tale, something that's actually not happening, but it is very real. And we've got the receipts to show it. Just last summer, we had a report out that found that 143 school districts across the country had fostered ties with the Chinese Ministry of Education or Chinese Communist Party affiliated entities over the course of about a decade. Now, after the November APEC meeting, Xi Jinping is inviting American students, 50,000 American students, to China. And, let's be clear here. This is intentional. The Chinese Communist Party has long said that working in U.S. schools, K-12 schools, is a top priority. They've done so through Confucius Institutes at the higher education level, now Confucius classrooms at the K-12 level. She wants to, manipulate, mold a generation of American future leaders who are more amenable to CCP political aims, and that is exactly what he's doing here.
Good morning, Alex. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So do the teachers' unions or the classrooms, the administrators, do they know what they're getting into when they invite the Confucius Institutes into their school districts?
So yes and no. And I think this quote from Sarah Landy, who actually helped organize a trip to China that just happened this spring in Muscatine, Iowa. Sarah Landy claims to be, quote unquote, an old friend of Xi Jinping. And she says that these, people to people exchanges, if you will, help American families turn off the bad narratives they hear on the news about China. Bad narratives like, committing a genocide, enslaving Congolese children in cobalt mines, let's not forget Tiananmen Square, the Great Leap Forward, other past atrocities in China. So it helps turn those off and only show Americans the good narratives about China. So coming back to administrators, I think they are billed that this is something that's great for kids. It's a great opportunity. They get to travel to another country. Potentially they get a, Chinese teacher in their school to provide opportunities to kids. That's all fantastic, well and good. But again, we need to look at the bigger picture here, and the adults in the room, school administrators, local leaders, state leaders, and federal leaders need to actually look at what's going on and realize that this is part of a much wider strategy to unseat the United States as the world's first and foremost economic and military power.
Alex, there's been some, people raising red flags, no pun intended, on Confucius Institutes in the universities, Josh Hawley and some others going back really 2 or 3 years on this. And some states and some universities have kicked them off of their campuses. But when you look at now, you're saying K through 12 K through 12 presence in the schools. What is it that the school districts should be doing to filter out? I mean, it's one thing to have, cultural exchanges or learn about comparative cultures or things like that. But what is it from a policy perspective or from a parental perspective do people need to be looking for? And specifically, what should they be looking to filter out while at the same time saying, but we want a rich education in the meantime?
We absolutely do. I think what would be fantastic is if we had Chinese Americans who fled communism, who fled Mao's communist China, in classrooms teaching kids Chinese language, because our kids do need to learn Chinese language. If we are going to confront the Chinese Communist Party, they need to know the Chinese language. I think we should have Chinese Americans teaching our kids Chinese language and teaching them about China's history and about also the beautiful parts about Chinese history and Chinese culture, but also the bad parts. And we know when we're allowing the Chinese Communist Party to dictate what our children are learning about China, we know they're not hearing the bad parts, especially the bad parts that are happening now. So that's one for sure. I would say another thing, you mentioned Confucius Institutes shutting down following a 2020 State Department report that rightly called them an influence arm of the Chinese Communist Party. What we've seen in our research is in some cases in Kentucky, in Washington State, there are some that still exist. There are some that were essentially given to school districts to continue operating. It's a game of whack-a-mole. And what's really frustrating and frightening about some of these connections is, perfect example, in Washington, the Confucius Institute there was created in conjunction with a Chinese university connected to their nuclear arms program. That should not be allowed to happen. We should not have American institutions partnering with institutions in China connected to their military. So this is clearly a problem at the local level, where districts can bring in Chinese Americans to, teach good and bad parts about Chinese history, and then also at a national security level, which, typically more of a federal issue there.
Good morning, Alex. Stalpontikas here. Got a question from a listener for you from Allison on Facebook. She mentions that Confucius Institute classrooms are here locally at St. Louis University High School and Webster University, obviously funded by the CCP. So is there influence from the Confucius Institute going all the way down to medium and small school districts? I realize we're a bigger school district here, but how about medium and small districts around the nation?
Oh, definitely. They're all over. And if you look on our website, Little Red Classrooms is the report. You can find it at defendinged.org. We've got a list of 143 school districts. I'm sure that's not all of them. But you can see, like I mentioned, Kentucky. There's one school district in Kentucky that essentially took over Western Kentucky University's Confucius Institute. And, that district is in a small coal mining community in Kentucky. So, red states, blue states, coastal or, Midwest, what have you, they're everywhere.
Alex, tell us a little bit about how the CCP is using TikTok to promote their agenda, and what do you make of the laws that are now being discussed to ban it?
How are we going to learn the latest dance craze if it weren't for this?
Well, we have YouTube. We have other platforms where data is, stored in the United States. And look, what I like to say, especially to people who have fair concerns about free speech, our freedom does not protect itself. Our freedom will not protect itself from the Chinese Communist Party. And because our data, American data, data from 170 million American users is stored in China, at ByteDance, that is a Chinese company, and therefore it is subject to Chinese law that requires companies to assist the Chinese government in data collection efforts. That means at any time, the Chinese government could have ByteDance turn over that data on American users. That is a problem. That is a huge security risk. And it is one that I think, parents need to take very seriously. When their kids on TikTok, it doesn't seem like a really big deal. What are they going to do? Well, that's, the Chinese government could have that data at any time, and that's very frightening.
All right, we're visiting with Alex Nestor from Parents Defending Education, and Alex just got a couple minutes left here. So you just mentioned the parents. Okay, where do the parents go from here? How do it's not like the schools are going to send out notices, hey, we have a CCP-funded Confucius Institute or something like that in most cases. How do parents find out for themselves if there is influence from one of these entities directly or indirectly connected to the CCP in their school district? Because I suspect there's going to be a lot of parents who are going to be nervous to ask these questions for fear of being called, xenophobic or a conspiracy theorist or what have you. What is it they should do to make sure that they are, at the very least, being able to deal with it at home in case they have to compete with some of the values and ideals being taught in the schools?
So definitely, one, We're always happy to be the bad guys. We've got a line on our website. Drop us a note at the bottom of our website, and we're always happy to investigate for you, for parents who fear retaliation from, against their kids, too, for asking questions. I also think, too, look, a lot of administrators, again, are sold Confucius classrooms or these trips as being good opportunities for kids. So I do think this is a time where parents can open a dialogue with their school officials and at least try and say, hey, have you heard about Uyghur genocide? Have you heard about these, children being enslaved in cobalt mines? Like, should our school really be working with this foreign nation that's committing these atrocities? I think it is perfectly fine. And that is the first thing we always suggest for parents. Go to the source, go to your child's teacher, go to your school district, because look, there are studies that show that most people are actually really happy with their individual school, even though overall people are dissatisfied with the education system. So always go to them first, but then know that Defending Ed, we're always happy to be the bad guy and file the public records request if needed.
Okay, and how do they get in touch with you? Website, social media, anything like that?
Yeah, defendinged.org, and then on Twitter at defendinged.
Going to get things going with the first morning news dump of the day right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Don't forget, download the News Talk STL app, iPhone or on Android. It is absolutely free, and you can take us anywhere you want.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
We don't know how far Russia's influence goes.
101.9 and 94.1.
No one wants a rematch of the 2020 election.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, the guy who devastated a family with his recklessness now says he's being treated unfairly.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. And the defense that he's making and asking for a new trial is just kind of grotesque. So we'll get into details on that. Not the grotesque details, but it's morally grotesque, I think. And 3 Missouri lawmakers are being sued by the guy who was falsely accused of being a murderer. And, of course, it's home opening day.
Yes, it is.
Where are you going to be this afternoon?
I will be probably on my way home listening on the radio.
Okay, there we go. All right, it is 5:50 right now. All right, the man who caused the crash that robbed Janae Edmondson of her legs wants another trial after he's been convicted. KMOV's Corey Stark has the details.
According to Riley's attorneys, due to multiple, quote, improper rulings of the court, he was denied a right to a fair trial. The motion comes nearly a month after Riley was found guilty on multiple counts for the 2023 downtown St. Louis crash. At this time, Riley's sentencing hearing is set for April 18th. Well, this news comes as a civil lawsuit against the city of St. Louis filed by Edmondson's family moves forward. A judge denied the city's motion to dismiss the lawsuit, which claims the city failed to maintain a safe intersection. A trial for that is set for next March.
So the city wanted to be let out of any responsibility for not, protecting people. And by the way, at 6:35, I'm going to go through what Daniel Riley's lawyer was arguing are the improper decisions by the court. It doesn't even pass the smell test or that's basic smarts test. It's just unreal. All right, let's get an update from what's happening in Baltimore as well here. Maryland Governor Wes Moore had his daily press conference updating everybody on the effort to clean up and restore the recently collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. Governor Moore provided some details for the overall priorities that they're going to be using.
First, we need to give closure to these families. Second, we need to clear the channel and open vessel traffic to the port. Third, we need to take care of our people, all the people who have been affected by this crisis.
And remember, when they talk about reopening the port, it's estimated that closing that cost the city of Baltimore and that region about $15 million per day. And so I know that people can say, oh, you can't make it all about the money. Well, that's true. However, there are thousands of people's lives who depend on that port being open.
Most definitely.
So you've got to keep that in mind, too. I hate it when people are like, oh, you're just thinking of the money. You just want the business back up and running. Yeah. You do.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you don't care about the people who lost family members in that bridge collapse, but it also means that there's somebody right now who's out of work, trying to file for unemployment, getting a percentage of their paycheck, trying to get home to pay their mortgage or pay their rent that's going up because of inflation. And so it's crucial that all of these things move as fast as possible.
There's a lot of moving parts there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of them out there. People
and some parts that are not moving, which is part of the problem.
That's the big problem. Exactly. Yep. All right. Oil prices, speaking of things going up, oil prices rising 3% to a 4-month high on Wednesday on a national average. 4-month high. Now, that's, of course, as concerns over potential inflation continuing inflation. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum was on Fox Business's Kudlow, and he believes the spike in both the oil and the gas prices are because of President Biden's policies. I don't think that's a big stretch by any means. He says they continue to hurt all of us.
When you were trying to shut down the U.S. energy industry, take out what could be the world's largest producer of liquid fuels, take that out of the marketplace through government red tape and action, of course, the markets are going to go up.
And keep in mind, the Biden administration recently canceled a plan to purchase 3 million barrels of oil to refill the petroleum reserve because they were, releasing oil out of the petroleum reserve just to try to keep prices down after they're trying to shut off the supply. So they've jacked up the market, and it's going to take years to try to rebalance all of this. So the bottom line is, expect oil and gas prices to keep going up, except for right before the election. Then there's going to be a dip.
That could very well be.
Yeah. All right. A judge has rejected Donald Trump's bid to delay his upcoming criminal trial in the so-called hush money case.
Lawyers for the former president asked for a delay of the hush money trial until the Supreme Court rules in Trump's immunity claim in his Washington, D.C. election interference case. but the judge said no. The trial is scheduled to begin April 15th. Meanwhile, federal prosecutors are scolding the judge presiding over Trump's classified documents case in Florida. They're unhappy with the slow pace and are questioning the judge's approach, arguing that her jury instructions are based on a fundamentally flawed legal premise. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Man, that report was 33 seconds long, and that covered 3 of the cases in 3 different states. All right, though, the Washington, D.C. case is a criminal one, and then the hush money case in New York is a civil one. And I don't know if that had anything to do with the judge saying, no, I'm not going to apply and wait for that ruling there to do this one. And then the one in Georgia is just a completely separate, or excuse me, Florida. I don't even think they mentioned the Georgia one. The one in Florida is just a completely different case altogether. So all kinds of moving parts. And if you say, Mike, I just can't keep up with all these trials against Donald Trump. Yeah, I know. Sometimes it's hard for me to do it, too.
Just buy a scorecard.
Or bingo card, for that matter. All right, here we go. The Redbirds won the series but did not get the sweep, though. After winning the first 2 games of the series, the Cardinals lost to the Padres last night, final score 3-2. Cards are at Busch Stadium today for the 2024 home opener against the Marlins. 3:15 first pitch. Lance Lynn's going to be on the bump for St. Louis. It's going to be cold out there, but around 6:20. Okay, I'm going to go over everything you need to know. Here's the schedule of events, the parties, because you know what? After 2 or 3 beers, everybody's not going to be feeling the cold anyway at the parties. So we'll give you the update on that as well. And I mean, opening day, man, it's just it's a whole thing here in St. Louis that is not happening in most other cities. I hope that everybody understands this. I've lived in different places around the Midwest. I've been to so many different ball games around the country. I've played in baseball games around the country. It's different here. Appreciate and embrace that, everybody.
You know, I had an appointment scheduled for this afternoon downtown, and I realized yesterday, no, I think I probably need to postpone it and reschedule it for another day. And Kathy said, well, it's not that big a deal. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of people downtown. I said, Kath, it'll be 45,000 or whatever at the ballpark, but another 100,000 everywhere else downtown. So I don't want to try to fight the traffic.
Unless your appointment is seats along the third base line, don't even bother. All right, the Blues start a 3-game road trip tonight. They are in Nashville for this one. Game starts at 7. Okay, so there's 7 games left in the season, including today's. The Blues are 40, 31, and 4, so they are guaranteed a plus 500 season on the plus 500 winning rate on the season. Technically, they could still get a wild card that has not been mathematically eliminated, but I just don't see it happening again. But Blues wisely playing in a later game because everybody's watching the Cardinals today. That's what's happening.
Okay.
You're personally invited to hear from a man who, like you, deeply values individual freedom and liberty. He likes law and order. Larry Connors, with his trademark wit and wisdom, is ready to dive headfirst into today's topics and dish out stories hotter than a St. Louis summer. Ever hear of a guy standing on top of the Gateway Arch? Yep, that was Larry. Come see Larry live this Thursday, April 4th at 7 p.m. Get the details at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Severs JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. It's your choice to take 5 on one of these great offers. 0% financing for 5 years or up to $5,500 cash rebate and a 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details, but don't wait too long. These offers are for a limited time at Severs JCB. And check out their full line of industry-leading JCB equipment. Check them out online at seversjcb.com.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. Ahmed Thomason. President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu are about to have their first talk since the Israeli airstrike that killed 7 Gaza aid workers. The Israeli military says it was a tragic mistake amid the fog of war. Muslim Americans still angry with President Biden over his response to the Israel-Hamas war.
The president's plans for an iftar dinner this week were scaled back when invited Muslim American leaders refused to attend. A meeting was scheduled instead to hear from the Arab community. One of the attendees was Dr. Thayer Ahmad, a Palestinian-American ER doctor. He told CNN that he walked out of the meeting with President Biden and Vice President Harris after telling them what he witnessed while treating hospital patients in Gaza. Greg Clugston, the White House.
President Biden's poll numbers remain a big source of angst among Democrats. New Wall Street Journal poll shows former President Trump leading Mr. Biden from 2 to 8 percentage points among voters in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina. The only maritime shipping terminal currently operating in the port of Baltimore, preparing to process an influx of ships as crews continue cleaning the mangled wreckage of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Maryland Governor Wes Moore.
We have opened 2 temporary channels that can and are focusing on supporting commercial traffic.
It's those temporary channels that will allow commercial vessels to get around the bridge debris that's blocking the port's main channel. President Biden is canceling replenishment of the nation's emergency oil supply following withdrawals that saw the reserve fall to a 40-year low. Bloomberg reports the about-face comes as crude prices surge. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures in positive territory so far. The Dow futures are up 110 points, NASDAQ futures ahead 77, and the S&P futures 16 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a chilly home opener for the Redbirds and a breezy one, too. An afternoon high of about 50 degrees, some gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. Clouds increase this morning, dreary skies at times, and a slight chance of a shower this afternoon. Now, most of that misses Busch Stadium to the east, but I can't rule out a quick stray shower over the ballpark. Clearing tonight down to 36 in St. Louis with a freeze warning just west of the metro, but a warming trend begins tomorrow. Partly cloudy Friday, up to 58. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all.
Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmoscholars.org. That's herzogmoscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa,
Yes, I'm listening.
play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
All right, social media posts result in some Missouri lawmakers being sued, including some of our friends here.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Kind of saw this coming, actually.
Yeah, I think we did. 6:05. Let's get into that here in a second. By the way, St. Louis doesn't completely pause the rest of life for home opener. I mean,
sort of.
Still reschedules his appointments downtown.
Because I was dumb enough to schedule it in the first place.
Oh, no.
So we got everything you didn't know at 6:20. And I want to know who's going. I already asked that question on Rumble there. I'm like, all right, people, who's going?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going? We'll talk about that around 6:20 because you really need, I mean, there's a lot of festivities. There's a lot of people not going to the game, but they're going to the festivities, as you said a little bit ago still.
Mm-hmm.
But 48,000 are going to be at the game.
Oh,
believe
gosh.
it or not, there actually were, I saw this morning on the Cardinals' Twitter, that there actually were a few seats still available. Few
Really?
tickets still. Maybe they were standing room only, but
That's okay.
there actually were a few tickets still available. Now, you're going to pay a premium for those, but there are some tickets still out there.
It's worth it if you can make it to opening day just once.
See, that's the thing is I actually have never been to the actual opening day. I've been to opening day, opening weekend, but on the actual opening day, I actually haven't been to one of those yet. So I do need to get to one of those.
You'd love it.
Oh, I know I will, without question. But I'm not going to be there today. Blues Nut says on Rumble, he says, half the people I work with are going, but he says, but I can't spare the PTO time. Here's the thing, Blues Nut. Gee, boss, I don't, not feeling good. You don't want me to come in and, you don't want me to come in and get everybody sick, do you? I'm just, make your own choices. Okay, get this. The guy who was falsely accused of being an illegal immigrant and a murderer at the Kansas City Chiefs victory rally, a little while back, he's already suing a congressman who posted that picture and made the accusation of him being an illegal immigrant and murderer.
Right.
Well, there were a lot of people who retweeted that.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 of those who are now being sued by Denton Loudermill, he's from Olathe, Kansas. He is now suing State Senators Rick Bratton, Denny Hoskins, and Nick Schroer. Now, Nick Schroer's tweet, and I think we even mentioned this, we saw before, he retweeted his and asked a question, is this true?
Right.
So I don't know what kind of case they're going to have against Nick Schroer. The other 2 may have a little tougher time. And, of course, when being asked about this in the media, the senators aren't saying a lot, probably because it's pending litigation and you're not going to really do that. And, of course, they probably haven't. Rick Bratton says, there's nothing that I even see even worth that. So we've done nothing. And, I have no comment. And when asked if he's apologized to the guy, which, what's really weird is that if you apologize, that's used as evidence.
Yeah. Yeah. That's part of the weird thing. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we never get apologies out of politicians.
Right. Yeah. Some of them just don't want to admit they're wrong.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah. So, that's where this is now. I kind of get it. I'll be a little surprised if Nick's the lawsuit against Nick goes very far because he did ask the question. He
Right.
didn't make a declarative statement on that.
Right.
Somebody may say, well, you're splitting hairs. Well, not really.
No, that's significant hair right there.
Yeah, when you say, is this true?
Right.
Or something along those lines, that's a different thing than saying, look at this guy who did this. But when it comes to people, and we were warning, and it's really weird is that what we're supposed to do if you listen to most conservative media is you pounce whenever you can. You make your name on the rage mob and just redline emotions. And we have a tendency here to go, let's get the rest of the facts here on this.
Yeah, there's been a growing tendency not to vet the information as it comes out, because one of the things I've seen too is the response to something terrible happens that shows how wrong the leftist view is, or some lefty comes out and says something horrible, and we jump on it and we say, isn't this is bad, right? It's like everybody, you guys all know that this is bad. And then the response from the left has been to say, instead of focusing on the actual issue, a scandal, or whatever it is, they say Republicans pounce. That's kind of been their go-to response. Now, we've basically leaned into that, and we're actually doing the thing that they've been accusing us of, and we're pouncing when what we should be doing is making sure that we get it right.
And there's a time to pounce.
Oh, there is absolutely a time to pounce. Now, that's not the story, but you see what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, and this right here. And so the bigger question comes down to you can, free speech, and I'm a free speech absolutist.
Yes.
But that does not include libel and slander.
Right.
That's not part of free speech.
Yeah, you can't intentionally destroy people with your words.
And so these guys, I'm sure didn't mean to falsely accuse somebody.
Oh, sure.
But if you put out there and you've got a pretty good following out there and you say, hey, look at this illegal immigrant, and you're retweeting somebody who declared it, because it was that congressman who did that, and he's being sued, and he's a pretty conservative congressman, but you know what? He was wrong.
Right.
And so you got to suffer the consequences for that. And that means every time that we go to say something on social media, you got to think twice.
Now, I do wonder how far the rabbit hole you can go with this, because there are sources that we trust, right?
Yep.
So if somebody that you trust says, hey, this is the information that I've got. That guy was an illegal alien, and his name was this, and he's been accused of other things. He's been picked up by, and you take it and you run with it because you trust that guy. Are you at fault for trusting your friend or trusting your trusted source, or is it? Is the lawsuit limited to the originator of the falsehood?
I think we're about to find out.
Let's see what the law says, right?
But what here though is that when you retweet and you make your own accusation on it, then I think you bring it on your own.
True.
So if there's a tweet out there that says Gabe Pfeiffer is a murderer who has 50 people buried in his basement. You don't have that, do you?
It's 40.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. and
That's a joke.
Yes.
That's a joke.
And I retweet that and say, I can't believe that he did this.
Right.
And you come to work, you're like, no, I don't have anybody buried in my basement, guys. I build rockets for a living, well, then you could sue me for piling on and adding.
For piling on,
Now, if I retweeted it and said, I don't believe this for a second.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm in the clear.
Right.
But I still retweeted what would have been a lie.
Right, that's true. Well, and even if you're asking the question, and I think this is another aspect of this case, especially, because it involves Nick, the right thing to do if an accusation is being or some piece of information is being pushed out in the public eye, I think it's actually the right thing to do to say, is this true?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Even if you are, technically spreading the information by pointing to it, if it's out there and it's being discussed, you adding to the chorus by, instead of saying, look at this craziness, you're actually saying, is this true? I think that's the right attitude to take.
Well, now with the others, with Rick Bratton and with Denny Hoskins, I mean, these are all Freedom Caucus members. So these are guys who are, fighting the good fight on a lot of legislation, and they're conservative guys.
Yeah,
there
are peeps.
There are peeps, and I kind of hesitate. I'm like, okay, well, how do we talk about this on the air? Because we are absolutely behind the Freedom Caucus guys. Well, listen, we're hypocritical if we pick and choose the topics we discuss based on whether or not it's good or bad for even our friends. I mean, The facts are the facts. Let's talk about those. The issues are the issues, and I'm just not going to pick and choose with it. I mean, Nick's a good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that he's got the strongest case of all of them.
Yeah.
But the reality is that with free speech comes consequences, and if you if you participate in something that does significant harm to somebody else, and this guy I think can easily argue, yeah, this caused a lot of problems for me.
Yeah, I very often, when I think about these issues, I put myself in the place of however many parties are involved. It's like, okay, if I'm a lawmaker and I see this tweet come across my feed, do I hit quote, requote or retweet or whatever? Yeah. If I'm the guy, if I'm the subject of this discussion, how am I going to respond? And guys, if that's me and you told the world that I'm an illegal alien named something or other else than my real name, and I am a murderer, we're gonna have our lawyers are going to have discussions.
Yeah, my guess is that there'll probably be settlements with everybody to some degree.
Yes.
And then they'll move on and probably lessons learned.
Yeah, honestly, that's the right thing to do. I think if you're on the wrong end of this lawsuit is basically say, okay, let's talk about it. It's like I don't want to go try. I'm not trying to, defend this.
Right.
But let's come to a reasonable understanding here.
Yeah. But here's one of the other problems is that the attack mode is what gains you followers.
Yeah.
Followers is currency in politics.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, followers is currency in media. So earning it by thoughtful discussions is hard to do. It can be done.
Yeah.
But it's pretty hard to do.
Oh yeah, you can't farm the engagement without the rage.
Yeah, it's easier that way. And that's why you see why a lot of people go do these let's do these videos where some guy's gonna set up a booth, change my mind booth, and they say something really
controversial,
conservative and controversial in the middle of a left-wing Portland or something, so that you can own the purple hair and use that as a click. Well, what did you accomplish? You pissed off the purple hair, but you got some clicks and you grew your followers, and you can use that for currency, and it's a business model. Now, I don't think these politicians are doing this. I think these guys in the Freedom Caucus, were engaged in the issues, and I think that there were just some mistakes that were made on that.
Yeah.
All right, 314-912-1019. All right, it is opening day, baby. Home opener. Cardinals actually started off stronger than we thought they were going to start off. Got the Marlins in town today with a whole slew of activities happening. I'm going to tell you what's going on. You going to be there? Let me know. I'm watching the Rumble chat box. Gabe and Stell are watching the other social media. Big day in St. Louis. Lousy weather day, but big day in St. Louis. You going to be there anyway?
You know what's ironic about today? They've played the Marlins probably 400 times in spring training, and now they've got to face them again for the home opener.
That's right. They've got a real game. It counts for reals today. All right, downtown's going to be nuts today. Let's talk about that just ahead here.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin God.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, get up.
Want to be a real-life superhero and show our first responders some serious love? Picture this. You wearing a cool volunteer David Dorn Foundation t-shirt, standing tall at our April 12th Trivia Night event. It's more than just a trivia night. It's your chance to make a difference and stand shoulder to shoulder with our brave first responders. Don't miss out. Gear up for an epic night of giving back and be part of something big. Be a David Dorn volunteer and get your free t-shirt. Visit dornfoundation.com.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then.
Move yourself. You always live your life, never thinking of the future.
Happy opening day. I mean, come on, this really should be a holiday in St. Louis, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should be. Yeah. I mean, how many workplaces are going to be where people show up and like, hey, where is everybody? We got stuff to do. Well, where do you think they are?
Absolutely empty.
Don on YouTube said you need to take a mental day today.
That's right. That's right.
Since that option's available.
A lot of stuff going on. I'm going to give you the timeline here in just a second. Are you going? Let me know. By the way, tomorrow, Flashback Friday. What 80s song do you want to hear in the bump music? Did you get my email? One of my baseball friends made a request.
Yes, indeed, I got it.
Yes. He said that, and I went, he just said that name of that song. I'm like, well, that's a good song. What? He goes, tomorrow, Flashback Friday. All
awesome.
right. I said, you got it, man.
Yep, good
All
suggestion.
Right. It was. That's good. A good intro to it.
This would have fit too, but we're playing it today.
It is. That's right. All right. So you can mention it on social media or just email us, and we'll try to get as many of those in as possible. Okay, so here's what's going on. It's 6:22 right now. The pep rally actually starts about 10. There are people parked and probably pre-partying now. I mean, am I wrong or am I wrong? Am I right or am I wrong here?
You start with the mimosa.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's a breakfast drink.
Because that's classy breakfast.
It's a classy
drink,
breakfast drink. Exactly.
Oh, man. I remember first time I had a mimosa. I've heard so much about these, and I tasted. I'm like, I don't like champagne. This is
this is terrible.
You can have the rest of this. I didn't really care for it. So Fred Bird and DJs and the Cardinals organist and some Cardinals players, Cardinals alum, I should say, will be at the Busch 2 infield stage at the Together Credit Union Plaza. So basically, Ballpark Village is where it's going to be. This is free. Everybody can go. You don't have to have a ticket to the game. Lots of prizes, ticket giveaways, but that's 10 o'clock to 12:30. So basically, we just start the party here in, 3.5 hours?
Yeah.
And I guarantee you there is somebody pre-partying right now.
Oh, they're warming up.
Yeah, they're going to have to. Let me pull my weather thing up because
it's what's going to be in the 50s maybe.
It is 38 right now with a high of 49.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So 49 at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be cloudy too, so you can't rely on the sun.
Right.
And I believe a bit windy too.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's what we're looking at. But again, after a few beers, you feel warm and fuzzy no matter what, right?
That's why the shirtless guys at the stadiums are always toting or possibly double fisting the big beers.
Yeah.
See, that's how you know.
Oh, man.
That's how you know how it works.
Okay, so the gates open to Busch Stadium at noon, for a 3:15 game, which a little bit early, but they're doing that because of all the pregame festivities. So all fans 21 and older will get a magnet featuring the 2024 Cardinals schedule from Budweiser. And then right after they open up the stadium at noon, around 12:05, the Cardinals will do their batting practice. When I was a kid, and I'd go to Old Bush, right, or go to Kaufman, or go to Riverfront in Cincinnati, or wherever I would go to games. I always begged my parents to let me go early so I could watch batting practice.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, loved watching batting practice.
Yeah, going to Wrigley Field. It could be, well, at Wrigley, I don't know how much it would be evident at Busch, but at Wrigley, you knew that there were going to be plenty of balls flying out into the bleachers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then the Marlins will do batting practice at 1 o'clock. So if you want to watch that. So here's how the pregame stuff's going to work out. 2:30, the pregame ceremonies are going to begin. That's when they've got the Clydesdales, coming out and the music, and then Fred Bird, and then of course the front office folks are going to get booed right after that. Then it's the Cardinals Hall of Famers. Then it's let's see here, welcome back players who aren't Hall of Famers but played for the Cardinals. And then, of course, the introduction of the 2024 St. Louis Cardinals, and that's where they come out on the motorcade and the pickup trucks.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, cool.
And convertibles.
Yes. Well, the convertibles are going to be the Cardinals Hall of Famers.
Okay.
So they're going to be in the convertibles, and the active roster, the 2024 team, is going to be in the F-150s.
All right.
On that. So that's how they're doing those.
Yeah, you earn the leather by getting into the leather seats by getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Otherwise, get in the bed.
Yep. And then they're going to introduce the Miami Marlins, which, everybody's good. But the thing is, an opening day in St. Louis, they get a polite round of applause. And, it's funny how you hear from the players from around the league, and they say, man, they want to be the opening day opponent because it's so cool and grandiose, and it's so different here.
Oh, yeah.
They love it. They kind of do the spectacles. Now, it's funny, last year on opening day, you remember Jordan Walker, that was his first opening day as a Cardinal, right?
Right.
And when you watch the parade, the pickup truck parade, and he's in there, you saw this just kid.
Oh, gosh.
With his eyes, the size of dinner plates, looking around because, you've never experienced anything like this in his life. So this will be his second one. But I could only imagine being a player.
Oh, yeah.
And having that sort of thing. And players in other cities, man, I mean, they just don't get that.
They're jealous of the fact that we're such a great sports town.
Yeah.
I think they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when they come to town, they even like it because we're tepidly polite to them. Even it's like, in the general sense, it's like, yes, we appreciate your contribution to the games. Now die.
That's right. Especially if you're a Cincinnati Red.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I would say Chicago Cub too, but I think that rivalry between the Cubs and the Cardinals, it is kind of a mutually respectful.
Oh, definitely.
It's there's a lot of ribbing and there's a lot of that, but we don't like the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah. You just don't like them, yeah.
I know, and here's the thing. Like, when I play in those tournaments around the country and I play against Cincinnati, it's like, I mean, these are good guys, but I really want to beat them because they're from Cincinnati.
Right, yeah.
That's probably not, I mean, I want to win anyway, but it's like, because they're from Cincinnati, I really want to beat them. It's just weird.
The Cubs rivalry thing is more like that cousin you see at Thanksgiving you play flag football with, and you really, really want to just but
you never want to.
But you're pretty okay with them in general. It's like,
I mean,
I think so.
They're still your relative.
When Stell wears the Chicago Cubs, then they're still ugly as sin.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
I do have Cardinals underwear on.
Picks or it didn't happen, Stell.
Oh, that social media post is going crazy.
By the way, if you're a rookie, I'm just mentioning this, having been in the area behind the wagon gate there, but the couple of years that we drove players out because of our association with the dealership in Hannibal, we got to drive some players out in the convertibles. I didn't drive the trucks.
Oh, nice.
For Jordan Walker and the other rookies, you're also back there with the Clydesdales.
Yeah.
Because they're all trying to get together and make sure that they come out on time. So it's pretty cool when you're there, and then you realize, whoa, these horses are huge.
Massive. This is not the horse that you rode in summer camp.
Oh, no.
With the summer Wrangler who's 18 years old. No, these things are huge.
Yeah,
absolutely huge.
Like what, 1,500-pound beasts there?
Something like that.
Yes.
I mean, just unbelievable. The national anthem is being performed by somebody named Michael B. Witt. I guess he's a country music singer. I don't know anything about him, but that's who's doing the national anthem. And then the ceremonial first pitches will be thrown by members of the 2004 National League Championship team. So they're coming back out, and it'll be a grandiose 10 guys throwing a first pitch at the same time.
That's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and then at 3:15, that's when the game starts against the Miami Marlins. And so there'll be people packing the bars downtown in ways that won't happen for most days, rest of the season, all over the area, every, post in Cybergs and whatever other sports bar you've got in town, Social and Afton and all those places. And they're going to be just kind of Applebee's and you name it, Drake's, you name it. They're all going to be packed watching the games today. So should be a good time. Obviously, it's going to be chilly out there. Not dangerously cold.
No.
Wear a few layers. You're going to be regretting it by about the 4th or 5th inning. So, wear a few extra. Love to see some pictures. Send me your pics. I am not going to be at the game today. I'm probably going to go to a game next week, but I'll go to a daytime game. But it's going to be a great time. And St. Louis is very different on that. Okay, speaking of St. Louis City, Department of Justice says you guys need some help with this whole violent crime thing.
They do.
Yeah, so I want to touch on that, but also Daniel Riley, the guy who caused the crash that took Janae Edmondson's legs, his lawyer says he wasn't treated fairly. He needs a new trial. And the reason that they say he needs a new trial is just, grotesque.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what that is. Let's do that around 6:34 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Shake yourself, your every move you make, so the story goes.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a chilly home opener for the Redbirds and a breezy one, too. An afternoon high of about 50 degrees, some gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. Clouds increase this morning, dreary skies at times, and a slight chance of a shower this afternoon. Now, most of that misses Busch Stadium to the east, but I can't rule out a quick stray shower over the ballpark. Clearing tonight down to 36 in St. Louis with a freeze warning just west of the metro, but a warming trend begins tomorrow. Partly cloudy Friday, up to 58. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Tony Colombo here, along with Tim Jones for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are the #1 home selling team in the area, and I could say that from personal experience. They sold our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible, which put us in a great position as we tried to find our perfect new home. And with help from the Wallners, that's exactly what we did. Christine and I couldn't be happier with our experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner. And Tim, the numbers speak for themselves.
That's right, Tony. Everybody knows the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. And if you're looking to sell your home, right now they have so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the St. Louis region, you can put the Wallners' experience and work ethic to work for you. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Colombo and Katie.
Dems call for Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor to step down so Biden can nominate a new judge before the election. Does this mean they plan to lose in November? We'll discuss Thursday. Plus, Justin Sparks and Dr. Randy Tobler.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
When I look back on everything I've done,
I can name that 80s rock ballad in 3 drum beats.
It's kind of amazing. Uncanny, I say.
did. You like the intro, the rolling things like boom, 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 and I'm like, that's White Snake.
A little sign on top of your head. That's White Snake.
That's right. All right, the Department of Justice says St. Louis City needs more help dealing with violent crime. Mayor Tashara Jones says, well, that's just because crime's down so much.
Excuse me?
I know. Yeah. 6:35 right now.
Okay.
Got Gabe here, got Stell here, and Mike. By the way, News Talk STL streaming app. Do it. Download it, please. You can find it on the App Store, whatever phone you've got. Also, if you got a newer car, you could probably put it on your car right now, too.
Oh, yeah.
So you can take us anywhere you want with that. It's free, by the way. And the way they set up the app, very, very little memory. It's really not going to affect your phone at all, other than you get to take us with you. Okay, so real quick with this. The Attorney General, Merrick Garland, the Department of Justice has identified, they announced this week, St. Louis as one of the cities in most need of additional crime-fighting resources. And so what they're going to do is they're going to send additional resources in the form of federal prosecutors and anti-gang and anti-crime intelligence to the city. It's one of multiple cities that they're doing this for. Now, when I first read that news, I'm thinking, well, okay, great. You know, that's fantastic. But I also remember that when the state offered similar help, when Attorney General Eric Schmidt offered additional help, when the governor Mike Parson offered additional help, they were rebuked. They were told, mind your own business.
They were scolded for it.
They tried to scold, you people who don't live in St. Louis really have a lot to say about how we run our city. But when the left-wing Biden administration says, hey, we're going to send you some extra prosecutors, some help. Okay, great. Fantastic. That's there. Those are the kind of games that are played. So Channel 5 asked the mayor for a statement, and here's what Mayor Tashara Jones told Channel 5. She said, under my administration, homicides in our city have decreased by 40%. We welcome this opportunity for St. Louis to work with the Attorney General's office as we continue to build upon our progress in reducing violent crime and saving lives. So essentially, it's like things are going so well. We really appreciate the additional federal resources to help us because things are going so great and they're in the right direction.
They are such liars. They're such gaslighters. I mean, I think Jane Duker has been on the case of the fact that they have been misrepresenting their crime statistics for a couple of years now. They've been cooking the books to make things look a lot better than it is. So as bad as it currently is in St. Louis, whatever numbers they're reporting, it's worse.
Yeah. So this program is going to bring 2 additional prosecutors to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Missouri, where they can prosecute more crimes. Now, remember, this is what the state of Missouri has been offering for a while. At one point, even the lawmakers were saying, we're going to change the law to allow the Attorney General to have concurrent jurisdiction, meaning that if you won't prosecute him, we will.
Right.
Well, now Gabe Gore's office is prosecuting, and so he did accept help from the Attorney General's office and from federal prosecutors to try to get this under control. So that's where that is. Even the Biden administration recognizes that St. Louis cannot keep up with the violent crime there. Okay, let me talk a little bit local here. Daniel Riley, he's the guy that caused that crash that ended up taking Janae Edmondson's legs, right?
Yep.
So he was convicted, 3 weeks ago or whatever it was. About 2 weeks, in about 2 weeks on the 18th, he's going to be getting his sentence for that crime.
So we'll know how long he gets put away.
Right. Well, his lawyer is asking for a new trial, saying that he didn't get a fair trial.
Now, why is he arguing this?
Okay. So here's what he said. His attorney, Daniel Deemer, and I'm only going to partially slam the attorney because the reality is is that if you don't have a lawyer who's willing to try just about anything legal on behalf of your defense, we don't have a justice system.
Right.
So
the rigorous defense is a constitutional right in this country. Yes,
Right.
that's true.
He says that the St. Louis Circuit Court committed multiple legal errors. And among these legal errors that he is trying to use and claim that should get Daniel Riley a new trial is that the court allowed Janae Edmondson in the courtroom without her prosthetics and using a wheelchair. That's part of what he said was a court error.
Okay, all right, stop.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah.
Say that again?
Okay. So he's arguing that because they let Janae Edmondson be seen in the court by the jury with the full effect of this wreck, because she does have prosthetic legs that she's learning how to work on
Right.
or walk with.
Right.
And but he said because they allowed her to come in showing that her legs were gone, physically seeing it,
Right.
and in a wheelchair, he said allowing her to come in and be seen like that was a legal error, accusing the court of condoning a gore fest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Look.
And then they used some pretty, I guess, explicit, gruesome photos of the wreck as well.
Well, okay. Here's the thing, I guess. I mean, look, like we said, you are entitled to a rigorous defense.
Yeah.
It is up to your lawyer to provide to find every loophole, to provide every avenue for either eliminating or reducing your sentence or what have you.
Right.
Like that's their job, as distasteful as it can be sometimes because of the nature of the defendant. But showing the actual result of the incident, I don't understand how that could even at all, like the consideration of that being some sort of misconduct sounds like so far of a stretch that in and of itself sounds like a mistake on his part.
Right. So I'm trying to balance this out. And lawyer friends, let me know if I'm wrong here because, yes, you are obligated to provide that defense.
Right.
At the same time, you are an officer of the court. And if you are, I think, abusing the process, now that's a subjective term. Abusing it.
Yeah.
It's also a matter of, listen, he's been convicted. You want to appeal? That's your right. But they're asking for a new trial. So I don't know if that's the same thing as an appeal. I think it's like saying, no, we need to start over because this wasn't done right. But among those to say, you let the jury actually see what he cost her.
Right. See, the suggestion here is that showing the result of the situation at hand is misconduct. Like that's the suggestion that
or
he's
a
making.
legal error.
Right, exactly. So like no, because isn't that part and parcel to justice?
Yeah.
Like if the judge ruled and said, you know what, you're right, we shouldn't have let that happen. Does that eliminate the ability of every court thereafter to consider the results of a situation, whether it's an accident or an intentional? Does that make any sense whatsoever?
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. Is that offensive? Sure. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a stretch, by any sort of common sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much common sense is put into court cases these days. It also shows that he probably has absolutely nothing to go on.
Oh, gosh, he got nothing to help him with.
I don't know if it's a matter of his client or the client's family that's just demanding, no, get a new trial, because his job is to give good advice. I have no idea, because there are times where he's got to advocate for his client and do what they say that they're going to do. But this is a ridiculous argument that letting people see what he did was a legal mistake. I mean, what are they supposed to do? Say, no, you must wear your prosthetics. You must try to walk in. Matter of fact, wear a long dress so that
you're not allowed to be here.
Smile while you're in there so people think you're happy. I mean,
it's like, what is this?
Right. And that's where that is. And then also in a separate case, the Edmondson family is suing the city of St. Louis for a variety of reasons. One, they're talking about the downtown safety and not keeping that safe, but also the fact that Daniel Riley shouldn't have been out. He should have been in jail for violating his parole literally over 100 times. And the city tried to get that case dismissed.
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Of course they did.
So on one hand, you've got the city prosecuting the guy who did it, and on the other hand, they've got the city trying to get out of any responsibility for what happened under what happened under Kimberly Gardner's watch, and then to some degree what happened under Tashara Jones' watch as well.
Yep.
And they don't want any sort of liability or responsibility. I hope. Now, I don't think that every city, local government, or state government is responsible for every crime that happens.
Oh, no.
But this was so preventable.
Yes.
By, this could have been prevented, and it wasn't.
It's the same concept as the the illegal alien doing something in the
Right.
country, right, and hurting somebody, and we hold the federal government at least partially responsible for that because their policies have deliberately allowed them to run free.
They've invited them in,
and they've invited them in. And so in the same way, these people who should be put away, they should not be out on the streets with the rest of us because they are obvious dangers. And when that obvious danger comes to light and they hurt somebody else, well, it was your fault for not doing your due diligence and keeping them away from the rest of us.
Yeah, and ultimately, Daniel Riley's responsible for what he did.
Yes, ultimately, yes.
At the same time, that doesn't mean that there's not some culpability by the city. Now, and somebody may say, well, why punish all the citizens because of Kimberly Gardner doing a bad job? Well, you elected her.
Right.
And reelected her.
Mhm.
And reelected her.
Mhm.
So when she put the city in this position to be sued, when the Jones administration had the city to where, it's just a lawless mess because even Kimberly Gardner isn't fully responsible for the lawlessness and the violent crime. She's partially responsible because she wouldn't prosecute. She's partially responsible for wrecking the office, but the policies from City Hall that take a pro-criminal approach, that's responsible for it too. So in a civil case, I still hope the Edmondson family absolutely cleans out the city.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I hope they win enough money that the city has to start shutting down some wasteful services.
Absolutely.
That's the way I see it. All right. Now we've got an update on the actual dates and stuff just ahead on this. We're going to do the morning news dump here. 314-912-1019. A little bit later on today, you heard about this airstrike that went awry and actually hit a nonprofit in Gaza.
Mhm.
Is that going to be the excuse that puts the pressure on the U.S. to abandon Israel? I mean, the Biden administration is looking for one. Good article on that at RedState.com. We're going to talk to writer Joe Cunningham at 7:05 here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
When I look back on everything I've done, I know you must have cried a river of tears.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
Feeling low to walk me through my darkest fears.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Those nights go colder. I will be there looking over your shoulder. And the deeper the love, the stronger the emotion. And the stronger the love, the deeper the devotion.
You're going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
With Old Man Winter blowing into the heartland, let me tell you, Hanson's Tree Service is here to help. Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. Look them up 24/7 at hansonstree.com. Do you have any tree problems at your home or your business? Overhanging branches? Have Hanson's and the gang take them down professionally so Old Man Winter doesn't. What about organic mulch? Hanson's Tree has got that in bulk. It'll save you in price and time. Incredibly convenient. Protect all those assets you've got in the ground and have Hanson's take care of everything above the ground for you as well. Get them out to your homestead or your business right now. hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. So many of us are suffering from allergies right now. It's time to get your home clean and healthy, and Zero Res is here to help. Book a cleaning in April and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, plus you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Get the jump on spring cleaning now. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Looking for a cruise vacation? Cruise.com is offering its exclusive Sale of the Year to all listeners to this station. Every major cruise line, including Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Princess, MSC, and more, are on sale now. Call 1-800-507-9264 and book one of these deals while supplies last. Cruises start from as low as $39 per person per day. There isn't a better vacation value to places like Alaska, Europe, the Caribbean, South America, America, and more. Call one of the largest cruise specialists in the world at 1-800-507-9264. We'll find you a vacation that includes drinks, Wi-Fi, excursions, and more. Call 1-800-507-9264. That's 1-800-507-9264. Space is limited. Don't miss your opportunity to book the best deal of the year. That's 1-800-507-9264. Sponsored by Cruise.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
You know, it seems to me that the Biden administration's looking for an excuse to abandon Israel. I've mentioned that before, but now we've had that situation where a strike on a World Kitchen nonprofit facility could be giving them that excuse. We're going to update you on that right around 7:05.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
Okay, as we were just talking about, the guy who devastated a family with his recklessness apparently wants to put everybody through that again because he says he's been treated unfairly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll update you on the timeline of these here in just a moment. Also, it is home opening day. Where are you going to be this afternoon? Because if you ain't at the stadium, where you at?
Where you at?
I'm going to be home and warm is where I'm going to be.
Same.
That's exactly. All right.
Mhm.
But I don't blame you for going out there. Actually, if I actually had scored tickets, I probably would go, to be real honest. But I'm going to be with you in spirit. All right. The man who caused the crash to rob Janae Edmondson of her legs, we were just talking about Daniel Riley, says he wants another trial. This is from KMOV. This is Corey Start with the update on the cases and the timelines.
According to Riley's attorneys, due to multiple, quote, improper rulings of the court, he was denied a right to a fair trial. The motion comes nearly a month after Riley was found guilty on multiple counts for the 2023 downtown St. Louis crash. At this time, Riley's sentencing hearing is set for April 18th. Well, this news comes as a civil lawsuit against the city of St. Louis filed by Edmondson's family moves forward. A judge denied the city's motion to dismiss the lawsuit, which claims the city failed to maintain a safe intersection. A trial for that is set for next March.
And, of course, part of what he says made it an unfair trial is that the jury was allowed to see Janae Edmondson's body being disfigured, and she came in a wheelchair without her prosthetics so that they got a very real look at what he did to her, and that's one of the things the attorney is complaining about.
It's such a ridiculous complaint. It's so crazy. I don't understand it. Even in light of the whole idea of a vigorous defense, it strikes me as poor taste at best.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you just grasp at whatever straws you can, but I would love to see a judge kind of like tear the attorney a new one.
Absolutely.
For trying to say this.
Mhm.
All right, update from Maryland. The governor there, Wes Moore, did his daily press conference about efforts underway to clean up and restore the port there where the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed in Baltimore. Governor Moore is saying that here are the priorities for how they're going to approach the recovery and the rebuild.
First, we need to give closure to these families. Second, we need to clear the channel and open vessel traffic to the port. Third, we need to take care of our people, all the people who have been affected by this crisis.
Okay, now, in case anybody wants to criticize and saying, what, your second priority is reopening? It's all about money and business, huh? Well, okay, first of all, yes. Yeah, because there are thousands of people who rely on that for their livelihood.
Mhm.
There are families who rely on that to put paychecks in the bank and put food on the table.
Mhm.
And so, yes, reopening that is absolutely a top priority. And so
Yeah.
if you see somebody do that, saying people died in this, which is true, which
That's true.
the governor addressed
Yeah.
there as well, and the safety of the divers, but it is crucial that they get this port back up and running to some degree. I mean, I know there's a channel that's open now to a little bit.
There's a small trickle.
There's a small
Yeah.
trickle, but it is crucial. I mean, $15 million a day in economic activity goes through that port. So, yeah, it is crucial that they get the commerce back up and running.
Yeah, protecting commerce is a positive human thing.
Yeah.
I hate how they divorce that from, they say, oh, it's just about money. Well, you know what? Money's a very important tool to living, in this world. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah, when was the last time you put food on your table and in your stomach with no money?
Right.
Yeah, it just doesn't work that way. Okay, oil prices going up a little bit again. They're rising by 3%. We're now basically nationally at a 4-month high as of yesterday for the gas prices. And, of course, we've got continued inflation causing concerns. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum was on Fox Business's Kudlow, and he says both the spike in the oil and the gas prices at the retail level are right there on the you can put the blame right in one spot, right on President Biden.
When you were trying to shut down the U.S. energy industry, take out what could be the world's largest producer of liquid fuels, take that out of the marketplace through government red tape and action, of course, the markets are going to go up.
And also, the Biden administration canceled a plan to purchase 3 million barrels of oil to refill the strategic petroleum reserves as well, which they released oil from there. You remember they released that saying it was like an emergency basis because prices were going so high, which were going up because of their attacks on the energy sector.
Mm-hmm.
And then they released strategic fuels and strategic oil reserves into the market instead of just letting the market supply it. So now we have depleted reserves. It's just the craziest thing I think I've seen in politics.
Oh, yeah. It's just one stupid mistake after another when it comes to our energy policy in this country.
Is it a mistake? I think it's intentional.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
I don't think it's a mistake.
At this point, you got to say this is an intentional thing.
All right. A judge has rejected Donald Trump's bid to delay his upcoming hush money criminal trial. Here's what the courts have to say.
Lawyers for the former president asked for a delay of the hush money trial until the Supreme Court rules in Trump's immunity claim in his Washington, D.C. election interference case. But the judge said no. The trial is scheduled to begin April 15th. Meanwhile, federal prosecutors are scolding the judge presiding over Trump's classified documents case in Florida. They're unhappy with the slow pace and are questioning the judge's approach, arguing that her jury instructions are based on a fundamentally flawed legal premise. Greg Clugston, the White House.
I think earlier I referred to the hush money case as a civil case. It's not. It's a criminal case.
Oh, it is a criminal case.
Yeah, so we've got two criminal cases here, and Trump's lawyers are saying, hey, wait a minute, we've got a lawsuit that could determine that he's immune from whatever he did while he was president, and the judge in this case say, now separate matter.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. But that trial, April 15th, so we're looking at 11 days for that one to get started. And if you're trying to keep a bingo card to keep track of all the different court cases,
oh my gosh,
then that's probably the best way to do it, because otherwise it's hard to keep track of all these things.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Redbirds won the series, but they did not get the sweep after winning the first 2 games of the series. Cardinals lost to the Padres last night. Final score was 3-2. All right, here we go today. The Cardinals are at Busch Stadium today for the 2024 home opener. It is against the Marlins. That is a 3:15 first pitch. Lance Lynn going to be on the bump for the St. Louis Cardinals. This is his first start of the year, actually, I think.
All right.
He's 0-0. The Blues start a 3-game road trip tonight. They're in Nashville for this one, and the game starts at 7 o'clock. Now, with 7 games left in the entire season, the Blues are 40-31-4, so they're guaranteed to be above 500 for the year.
The wait is over. Capriati's is now open. Taste extraordinary with our one-of-a-kind sandwiches, like our award-winning Bobby with hand-pulled butterball turkey and stuffing, our roast beef with hand-sliced American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, or our crowd-favorite classic cheesesteaks with your choice of grilled steak or chicken. No matter which you choose, you'll always get Capriati's high-quality ingredients. Capriati's. Eat extraordinary. Order now at capriatis.com or on the app.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, there are great rates available for you as well. Call Term Busters for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, call Term Busters. 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class. Exam required to qualify.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Springtime storms starting their fury on the East Coast and interior New England. Parts of Maine and New Hampshire could get 18 inches of snow up to 2 feet at the higher elevations with travel discouraged. From Long Island, New York to coastal Maine, there are flood warnings and watches in place. The search goes on for the missing in Taiwan, struck yesterday by its most powerful earthquake in 25 years.
Of the approximately 690 people said to have been trapped or out of contact, most were guests and workers at a hotel. Authorities say they're all safe. The quake, which has injured more than 1,000, struck during rush hour Wednesday and was centered off the coast of rural mountainous Hualien County. In the eastern coastal capital of Hualien, workers used an excavator to stabilize the base of a damaged building with construction materials as some officers take samples of its exterior. I'm Charles Dilladesma.
A New York judge has denied former President Trump's request for a delay. The start of his New York criminal trial set to begin April 15th. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Biden will speak today, their first conversation since a group of Gaza aid workers was killed by an airstrike. Looks like clouds could interfere with Monday's viewing of the total solar eclipse, at least in some spots.
Some Americans in the path of totality may have a hard time seeing the moon as it passes in front of the sun. The National Weather Service says current forecasts show cloud cover from Texas through southern Arkansas, along with parts of the Ohio Valley. The regions with the best chances for clear skies are northern New England, upstate New York, southern Missouri, and central Indiana. This will be the first solar eclipse to be visible in the U.S. since 2017. Tasha Stevens reporting.
On Wall Street this morning, the stock futures are higher. Dow futures up 91 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 74. S&P futures up 15 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a chilly home opener for the Redbirds and a breezy one, too. An afternoon high of about 50 degrees, some gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. Clouds increase this morning, dreary skies at times, and a slight chance of a shower this afternoon. Now, most of that misses Busch Stadium to the east, but I can't rule out a quick stray shower over the ballpark. Clearing tonight down to 36 in St. Louis with a freeze warning just west of the metro, but a warming trend begins tomorrow. Partly cloudy Friday up to 58. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Question: do you know what vermiculite is? It is an insulation in the attics of hundreds of thousands of homes and public buildings. Looks like kitty litter, but often contains asbestos. Wellington Environmental is the largest company in the Midwest that can remove that hazard for you. Wellington has what is called the General, a powerful industrial vacuum that can suck vermiculite out of the attic. Hang on, there's something else you should know. Many of you might qualify for up to a $4,000 rebate. You should at least contact Wellington to see if you qualify. And here's something else. Wellington arrives at the time they give you, not sometime within 4 hours. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world. Cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, an Israeli airstrike hits a nonprofit's, I don't know if it was a facility, it definitely hit some vehicles in Gaza. But man, is that being used as leverage against Israel. And of course, that's going to cause, a lot of problems when a nonprofit group is hit. But it seems like the Biden administration is just looking for excuses to pounce on Israel on this. Interesting article in RedState on that. We're going to talk to the guy who wrote it here in about 30 seconds. By the way, we mentioned this yesterday. We're talking with Danny Define about his new show that's going to be on, and he mentioned there aren't really that many people who are undecided voters right now. He just doesn't believe that. I think there are some, but it's not between the two candidates. There are a few of those, but I think there's other things. So you want to convince your friends or your colleagues to vote for whoever you want or whoever vote the right way on something. How do you do that when someone says they're independent? They don't like any of the candidates. Let's go over that at 7:20. I think it's an interesting discussion because we all know people like that. I just can't stand either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to bother to vote.
Right.
That kind of thing. So let's do that, like I said, just a little bit here. All right, the article is called "The World Central Kitchen Deaths in Gaza Will Have an Impact Like Nothing Else in Israel's Conflict." It was written by Joe Cunningham, who joins us right now. Joe, good chat with you, man. Thanks for being back on the show.
Oh, well, thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure.
Okay, so here's what some of the basics that we know is that the Israeli military, hit, these World Kitchen, looks like some vehicles here. There were 6 or 7 people killed in this. I don't think anybody is arguing that it turned out to be a military target, but something went wrong somewhere, which is horrible, especially in a war that was started by Hamas. But you're saying in this article that this could really be a momentum shifter when it comes to the entire, I guess, balance of power, the support for Israel. What is it about this incident that you think could be one of those key points in all of this?
So the World Central Kitchen organization, which is the group of aid workers that was hit in this caravan, it was founded by Chef Jose Andres, who is well known in Washington, D.C. circles. He started with a restaurant there, grew that into a food empire, and he's a major Democrat donor. But more importantly, he's a well-renowned humanitarian. His organization, after he got successful in the restaurant business, his organization, World Central Kitchen, began doing humanitarian work in war zones. That they have been in several places where food is needed, some of them being war zones. Full disclosure, I had a family member who went and volunteered for World Central Kitchen when they were in Ukraine a couple years ago. It was not too long after the Russian war started in Ukraine. And I've had a family member who felt compelled to go and went over there and just talked about the amazing work that World Central Kitchen did. But the thing is, Jose Andres is a figure in D.C. He's well connected to a lot of big-name politicians in the Democratic Party. Joe Biden knows him personally. In fact, Joe Biden had talked to Jose Andres after the attack, and I think that has kind of lit a fire under a lot of Democrats who at first they wanted to be pro-Israel because they have constituencies, and they look at the polling and they see that Americans still largely support Israel over Hamas. But, this is somebody they know and somebody that they respect and admire and somebody who is frankly a donor to them. And they are that they've decided that, maybe this is the turning point. We've got all these elements in the Democratic Party who are calling for the Biden administration to stop sending weapons and armor and stuff like that to the Israelis. And now they've got this personal friend of theirs whose organization, whose humanitarian organization, it has been personally affected by this in a negative way. And Jose Andres actually yesterday came out and accused Israel of committing this attack as a deliberate attack, not targeting necessarily. I think from his verbiage kind of got muddled a bit, but he's saying that Israel is specifically targeting humanitarian and aid workers, trying to get people to stop sending aid to Gaza is what he's arguing here. And that's pretty powerful words for a left that in a progressive movement that is looking for any reason whatsoever to stop sending aid to Israel and stop backing Israel, start backing the Palestinians.
Morning, Joe. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So this seems to fall very well in line with some other fog of war incidents that we've had, even the United States and in various theaters. Is that being considered at all at these high levels, or are they just kind of jumping on the bandwagon here to try and bash Israel for this?
It's a lot of bandwagoning, honestly, from the Democrats. And again, they're looking for a reason to not have to support Israel, and so they see what happened to the World Central Kitchen workers, and they're kind of using that as their launching off point. It's also funny enough to note, though, that if you go online and like go to Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it and search for Jose Andres' name, and you'll find a bunch of people on the left who are attacking him for still being too pro-Israel, because he has been pro-Israel in the past. And so he's being attacked for that. So it's important to note that for specific, very vocal elements on the left, unless you're calling for the destruction of Israel, you are too pro-Israel for them. And that is a vocal minority, but still a vocal one in the Democratic Party. And that's what a lot of Democrats are dealing with. I mean, we've seen really back when we look back at the Michigan primary, and you had a huge number of other people voting for other on the actual ballot itself in the Democratic primary. The Biden administration, a lot of Democrats are attributing that to the high Muslim population and saying, well, this is and people who are against supporting Israel. So they're saying, well, we need to appease these loud voices because they're voting against Joe Biden. And so they're making these kind of election cycle shift in policy based on what they think the voters want. They're not taking into full consideration the policy aspects of this.
All right, Joe, here's Karine Jean-Pierre being asked about this, and The U.S., of course, demanding an investigation. Here's what she had to say. Tell me what your response is to this.
He wants to see an investigation that's swift, an investigation that's comprehensive, that brings accountability, and he wants to make sure that it is made public.
That's all fine and dandy. Yes, we want everything, every incident of civilian death in war. Sure, we want that investigated, but Israel very uncharacteristically came out very quickly and said this was an accident. This was not deliberate. This was not on purpose. We seriously regret this. We're doing what we can to avoid this sort of thing. And when you look at like the history of war, when war has been fought in or near populated areas, typically it's you have a death rate of civilians that's much higher than what you're seeing in Israel. I think it's 3 civilians for every soldier or something like that when you have engaged in war like this in Israel, whereas I think historically it's something like 5 civilians for every soldier killed in these kind of sieges. And so Israel is keeping the civilian numbers down, but I mean, this is a terror organization that has taken the reins of government in an area, and they're using human shields. They're digging tunnels. They're building their safe houses underneath populated civilian centers, knowing full well that if Israel strikes back, it's going to cause civilian casualties, and it's all PR for Hamas. And that's what the Biden administration is kind of falling into the trap of here. And they're doing so willingly because the progressives that run the Biden administration don't like Israel. Joe Biden is kind of lukewarm on them at best. But the younger staffers working in the White House for the Democratic Party don't like the existence of Israel. So anything they can use as a bludgeon against Israel, they're going to.
Good morning, Joe. Stal Ponticus here. The U.S. is selling multi-million-dollar packages of military equipment to Israel, including top-of-the-line F-35 fighter jets. Do you think that this situation will affect any of those sales to Israel?
That is a really good question, and the White House has been kind of mum on that. I think the Democrats want to stop that, but at the same time, if we're selling our weapons and we're selling our F-35s and we're selling that's less than our military has, and frankly, the left would like a demilitarized America too. So they might be willing to tolerate that a little bit more if it gets rid of weapons and things that American military can use. I think that the big thing that the left is really looking for here is they want Joe Biden to have a foreign policy success in a two-state solution and make Israel bow down to the recognition of a Palestinian state. It's not going to happen, but they want that. And part of it is they saw the success that Donald Trump had in establishing peace in the Middle East with the Jordan Accords and the Abraham Accords, and it came through the recognition of Israel, and they want to undo that. And any tool they have, which may include selling those weapons to Israel, that's on the table for the left.
We are visiting with Joe Cunningham from RedState.com. The article is called "The World's Central Kitchen Deaths in Gaza Will Have an Impact Like Nothing Else in Israel's Conflict." Now, first of all, do we know what happened yet? I mean, obviously, they're talking about doing an investigation right now, so we may not have the details. The World Kitchen folks have put out a statement saying this was deliberate. They targeted us, which I have trouble believing. But what do we know about it? And then where do we go from here? Because it looks to me like the Biden administration, to what you were just saying, is just looking for any excuse to abandon Israel and stick her in the back again.
We don't know a whole lot. Like I said, Israel came out and very quickly said it was an accident, it was not deliberate. If anybody had to venture an educated guess, it's likely that Israel may have suspected that, like other vehicles that they've targeted, that they had the symbols, they had the logos of aid groups on there, but Hamas was utilizing them to transport people and weapons to different places. And so they had a suspicion. They acted on that suspicion, and it turned out to not be the case at all. But we don't know for certain. It's not clear when we'll know for certain what actually happened. Israel may release more information on that today, but this is bringing a lot of American pressure onto Israel because, again, Jose Andres, the World Central Kitchen, those are two idols of the left because of their humanitarian work, and also because Jose Andres is of the left. He's a major Democratic donor, but he's a hero figure to a lot of folks in D.C.
Joe, in the last minute or so that we've got here, what sort of electoral consequences do you think this might have on the Democratic Party in November?
Honestly, I don't think that this has all that much of an electoral impact on November. Frankly, American voters vote with their pocketbook first, and the Israel-Hamas conflict does not usually weigh into that a whole lot. It was different in the post-Bush era when people were tired of the Iraq and Afghanistan war because of the human toll of American soldiers. But American foreign policy regarding a conflict between two other nations like Russia and Ukraine or Israel and Hamas, the American voters are not going to be worried about that near as much as they're worried about the economy, inflation, immigration, things like that.
All right, Joe Cunningham from RedState.com. Joe, we've already tagged you on our social media at Joe P. Cunningham. RedState.com is where we can find your and your colleagues' work. Website presence, where else can people get in touch with you?
You can find me on Substack, joecunninghamshow.substack.com. That features the stuff I write at Red State and the podcast of my own radio show here in South Louisiana.
Sounds fantastic, Joe. We'll talk to you again soon, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Joe.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
All right, 314-912-1019. I am telling you that the Biden administration is looking for any way possible to politically abandon Israel.
Mm-hmm.
That's just where we are at this point. All right, you've got some friends who roll their eyes when you bring up the elections coming up, and you get so upset, and you're like, how can you not be so angry and fired up? How come you're not involved more? You still need to talk to those people when it comes to winning over votes to get them to vote the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in November, but really in August in Missouri and in November in obviously Illinois as well. How do you do that? I want to follow up on something Danny Define said yesterday on the program here. Let's do that around 7:22 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
Anheuser-Busch, Disney, all learning you go woke, you can go broke. More examples coming.
Larry Connors USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8.
On News Talk STL.
You're personally invited to hear from a man who, like you, deeply values individual freedom and liberty. He likes law and order. Larry Connors, with his trademark wit and wisdom, is ready to dive headfirst into today's topics and dish out stories hotter than a St. Louis summer. Ever hear of a guy standing on top of the Gateway Arch? Yep, that was Larry. Come see Larry live this Thursday, April 4th at 7 p.m. Get the details at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Columbo and Katie.
Superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department was speaking to the media this week, and she said the rats are eating our marijuana. They're all high. The rats get in to the evidence rooms, and they get into the drugs.
And they toke it up. They roll themselves a bleezy.
I think they're eating it. I don't think they're. If they're in there,
think that they're rolling.
If they're in there with papers.
Weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL on a Garage, and we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right, it's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Hey, this is Rob Carter. Join me weeknights at 8 p.m. as I challenge our politicians, expose the political press, and analyze pop culture. It's the Rob Carter Show weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. here on News Talk STL. Now let's get back to the best men's league over 40 backstop in St. Louis. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Little Molly Hatchet here.
Indeed it is.
Yeah.
Flirting with disaster.
My favorite Molly Hatchet song.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Same.
Yep. All right. Danny Define said something yesterday. Of course, he's got the Next Gen show starting this weekend right here on News Talk STL on Sunday. Go to newstalkstl.com for more on that. Just amazes me. You know, I mean, we say number one for live and local conservative talk.
Oh, we're not kidding.
7 days a week. I'm going to confess something. Yesterday was the first time I'd met Danny in person.
Same.
You know, we'd emailed before, we'd texted a little bit, but I'd never actually met him in person. And he's sitting down. He's, 31 or whatever?
Yeah, something like that, 30-something.
And I'm like, man, this dude's conservative. He's not joking.
No, he's not playing around.
And so that's going to be a great show, which obviously I'm sure, I think we're going to have a rumble of that as well,
Yes.
or the podcast of that as well. But he's going to be on, Sunday nights. So, that's a great way to wrap up your week. And you may say, well, wait a minute, what happened to those old shows? Well, Rob Carter got promoted to weeknights.
Right, exactly.
So we got to replace him. So we brought in Danny Define. That's not get much better than that. So he said something yesterday that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
And that was there aren't really any undecided voters.
Right. In terms of being undecided about the candidates themselves.
About Trump and Biden.
Right.
I think, generally speaking, he's probably right. But I think there's a lot of people who may be undecided about whether they're going to bother to show up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he kind of mentioned it's like, hey, I'm going to check out this Trump guy, see what he's all about. Like, nobody's saying that. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows who Joe Biden is. Everybody has some inkling about how they feel about those candidates. But the question is, like you pointed out, is whether or not they're going to either bother showing up or hold their nose and vote for one of them.
Well, see, and that part, I'm glad you said it that way, the hold your nose part, because you've also got not just the presidential race, but you've also got, obviously, all the statewide races, all the congressional races that are in both Illinois and Missouri in the area.
All those down-ticket stuff that's important.
That's really important. And a lot of people, I think, get overwhelmed, especially with social media. There are people who are angry that they know as much as they do now.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong.
Right.
You're not wrong.
They don't want to engage. It's forced on people. They don't want to be involved. Most people aren't like those of us who are listening to this program right now.
Right.
In that they tune in at the last minute, or that's what they want to do. They don't want to be bothered by politics. They don't want to be kept up at night because of all the injustices that are happening. I mean, I wish people were more engaged. That's why we try to grow our audience. That's why we ask you to share us on social media. It's why we ask you to hit the little, like button on our streams. It's why we ask you to help us get your voice out there more. It's why we do that. We want more people engaged. But one of the ways to engage them is to understand that a lot of these voters don't think the way that somebody who's passionate about news, politics, policy, things like that. How do you engage them in order to win? I mean, let's talk about, like, for instance, local races. We just had the municipal elections, and there are most people don't know who their alderman or city council person is. They may not even know who the mayor is. So those people, their vote counts as much as yours. So when you're engaging somebody and trying to get them to vote and vote the right way, how do you do it? For instance, if you're looking at a municipal race and it's like, hey, you going to vote? Tuesday's the election. I don't know. Hey, listen, my friend's running for mayor. Can you vote for him? Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
He's really a good guy. Well, all right, sure, whatever. I'll go out and vote. It goes pretty fast. I mean, St. Louis County Board of Elections actually does a pretty good job, of getting these things out. St. Charles County, Kurt Bard, they haven't had any problems in a while. They had some glitches in previous elections, but they got those smoothed out. And so, that's one way to do it. But we're talking about the partisan stuff, talking about the race for governor, race for Congress, race for U.S. Senate, race for president. It's a whole different thing because people have that turnoff because of how nasty things are, and understand that part of that turnoff is part of the strategy by both parties.
Yes.
If you're on the left, you are never going to vote for a Republican. You're never going to vote for a conservative. I want you so disgusted with the whole thing that you don't bother to show up.
Yes.
That's just the fact and how it works. And
That's
the
part
same
of the
thing.
strategy.
Yeah, and if you're on the left and you got somebody who's conservative or just right of center enough, you're never going to vote for somebody who's Democrat. I want you so angry and doubting your candidate that you're just not going to show up.
Right.
Now, what they hope is that you just don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one thing, for instance, in the president's race to say, I don't like either one of these candidates. I'm not voting in that race, but I'm going to vote for everything else.
Right. Yes. Skipping the question is a different thing
Right.
than just not showing up, because it's a down ticket that suffers when the national issues, the national diatribes that are going on right now, just cause you to tune out.
Right. And so how do you talk to those people who are not loyal to the Republican Party, are not loyal to the Democratic Party, are maybe not even loyal to the liberal leftist cause or the conservative cause? Because there are plenty of people who are really conservative and they're not loyal to the Republican Party because they're conservative and the Republican Party is apparently about to abandon conservatism.
Right.
And so how do you talk to those people who just say, I want my retirement plan to go well, I don't want my family to be in danger in my neighborhood, I want my neighborhood to hold up, I want to be able to afford stuff. How do you reach those people in a way? Because I think what a lot of us do is we go to them and say, this other guy sucks. Don't you dare be part of the problem. You got to vote for this guy. Well, I don't like your guy.
Right.
But this guy, are you going to have blood on your hand? That kind of stuff on this. They don't want to get caught up in that crap. How do we talk to those people to say, if they can be won over? And by the way, I'm not one of those who says, well, the important thing is that everybody show up and vote. No. If you don't pay attention to the issues and you don't know what you're voting on, don't vote.
Please, actually. Please don't. Now, I wonder, and this is absolute theory because I have not put it in practice, if just starting with the policy type discussions might be the best way to go. Because what tends to happen is, at least, what I've seen, particularly in these, more recent races, is that the personalities and the party labels get in the way of actual discussions about the things that impact your life that's coming out of whatever, form of government we're talking about, federal, state, local. So if you say, hey, there's this proposal out there that's gonna raise a tax on this thing. Right. So it's like, so then it's like, oh, I don't want that to happen.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. All right. Now we've got a Larry Connors commentary coming up here, but could you hold that thought? I want to come back to this right now, because I actually had a conversation with an elected official yesterday who brought up something exactly on those lines, because I think I would even back out farther than what you just said. I think people are willing to engage in the policy stuff, but I think you've got to first make sure they understand how it affects their lives.
Right.
Okay, so let's do that. And here's what I'm asking everybody right now. 314-912-1019, or let us know on social media. A lot of people watching this on the live stream right now. What's the most common objection or rebuff that you get from people who just don't want to talk about it or don't want to hear it? Send me what you've been told, and let's go through those and see if we can help. Because what I want to do is, everybody's listening right now, when you engage, whether you're talking about the race for governor in Missouri, whether you're talking about the abortion question that could be on the ballot, whether it's a IP thing on the ballot, whether it's the U.S. Senate race in Illinois, whatever it is, when you ask people what are those common objections or whatever that you get, let's talk through them. Let's equip ourselves to have a real impact this year. Right here, 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 1019 94.1 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a chilly home opener for the Redbirds and a breezy one, too. An afternoon high of about 50 degrees, some gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. Clouds increase this morning, dreary skies at times, and a slight chance of a shower this afternoon. Now, most of that misses Busch Stadium to the east, but I can't rule out a quick stray shower over the ballpark. Clearing tonight down to 36 in St. Louis with a freeze warning just west of the metro, but a warming trend begins tomorrow. Partly cloudy Friday, up to 58. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
I'm always glad to have new sponsors, but I have turned some down. See, I only endorse clients if I believe in them. And I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. Through those years, listeners said they went with John Beal because they trusted me. And just recently, a woman named Mary wrote, "We got a John Beal roof based on your recommendation." Thank you, Mary, and all the others for calling John Beal. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
In 1958, a former FBI agent published a book titled The Naked Communist. In 1963, a Florida congressman identified 45 goals from that book, goals of communism. Here are some of them. Capture one or both of the political parties in the U.S., use technical decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions, get control of the schools, gain control of student newspapers, use student riots, infiltrate the press, get control of book review programs, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, motion pictures, present homosexuality, degeneracy, promiscuity as normal, natural, healthy, infiltrate churches, present only social religion, discredit the family, emphasize the need to raise kids away from their parents. Again, this was from a 1958 book on the goals of communism. 1958. Here we are, 2024, 66 years later. Out of that list I just read you, and that's only some of those communist goals. How many of those communist goals have we endorsed and are living with today?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me vent here.
Live and local.
Way to be, guys. 1019 all the way.
This is News Talk STL.
I am home.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I don't need to fall at your feet just 'cause you cut me to the bone.
I think I named this one in 5 notes. I looked at Gabe. I'm like, I think this is King of Wishful Thinking.
Yeah,
it is.
It was. Yeah. It was pretty immediate.
Yeah.
By Go West. This is one of those tough ones because I think maybe the album got released at the end of '89, and it got requested for Flashback Friday, but the single came out in 1990. So folks, I think, relate to 1990 with it.
Oh, okay. But the album was released in 89.
I think so. So it was kind of
I say it counts.
All right.
I think if the album came out in 89, I say it counts. I say. That's my vote.
All right.
Yeah. I haven't heard this song in forever. See, 89 was... I graduated high school in 89.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to graduate in 90. I just graduated a little bit early. But this would have been my senior year in high school. Man. All right, 7:37. Okay, I want to follow up on something that you just said here. So if you're just joining us, where we're going, this kind of a conversation kind of organically building here, is obviously we've got the elections coming up. And I'm not, if you haven't noticed, I'm not real big on doing the tribal partisan talking points rage mob thing.
Sure.
I'd rather think about stuff. And you know what? Sometimes somebody on our side's wrong about stuff.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
You know, that doesn't mean I'm going to go vote for the other side.
No.
But I'm tired of political parties telling me what I'm supposed to think.
Right.
And what I'm supposed to do to behave. I'm not taking orders from anybody. That includes the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned how we're starting those conversations with people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times what happens is people... You'll say, hey, you going to vote, man? Let's talk about it. It's like, no, I do not want to talk about that at all.
Right.
How about them Blues? You know, hey, did you catch that concert the other? You know, that's the thing. And I get it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
But if we want to make a difference in these elections, we got to do more than just vote the right way ourselves.
Right.
So how do you have that? You mentioned, we'll talk about the policy, not the personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you back it up even farther.
Okay,
so it's got to be about how does this affect you? I was talking to Mark Harder yesterday. He was on Vic and Ken show. And we were talking about, the various elections and, conservatives kind of got skunked in the school board races and, a number of propositions passed, including that one that's going to raise property taxes on your water, for your water and sewer bill and stuff. And Mark said something really interesting just over at my desk. And he said, you have 10 to 15% of people show up, which, by the way, is why they put those questions on the ballots in April.
Yes.
That's why, because it's easier to pass them.
Yes.
In April. But when 85% of the eligible voters don't show up, when 90% of the voters don't show up, and then you turn around, and this is what Mark was saying yesterday, and you complain that your taxes keep going up.
Mm-hmm.
He said the first thing you should ask them is, did you vote?
Right.
And if it's, well, I was busy, I couldn't get off work or whatever the case is, well, first of all, you can get off work because it's the law.
Yes.
That you are allowed to be off work to go vote.
Right.
But that's when the taxes get raised. And so what happens is people sometimes will, man, these taxes are going crazy. I can't believe this. This is really frustrating. Well, did you vote for that thing that the school district wanted? Well, yeah, it's for the kids. Well, first of all, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
Did you vote for that other thing? Well, yeah, they said that we have to have it for the fire department.
Assuming they voted.
Right, assuming they voted. Did you vote for that thing? Well, yeah, the library said. Okay, well, I've just named 3 things that raised your taxes.
Right.
And you either didn't show up to vote no, or you voted yes on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you wonder why the taxes are so high.
Right.
Are you telling me at any level of government there's not something that can be cut?
Right.
Or somebody who can be cut off the payroll. Yes, I'm talking about firing people.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. I saw a tweet today, earlier. I see if it's still up on my phone. Hopefully it holds its spot. It was somebody had highlighted it, and I went and looked it up. The St. Louis County Department of Public Health at 8 o'clock this morning. So, wait a minute, 8 o'clock yesterday, actually, excuse me, 8 o'clock yesterday morning. They said, and I'm quoting, this is your taxpayer-funded Department of Public Health. Climate change is the most pressing threat to human health. Oh, it gets better. By buying less, supporting green spaces, and transitioning to renewable energy, we can lessen the health impacts of climate change. For everyone's sake, let's make a change now. And then it has some website on there as well. So you've got a governmental agency promoting the climate cult, saying that's what's dangerous. Climate change is the most dangerous thing to human health. By the way, this is the same county that's dealing with the fallout of radiation from World War II from nuclear waste in your very own county. But there's some, 20-something in there who's in charge of the Twitter account says climate change is killing us all.
Right.
And then they say we have to buy less, which is commerce, which affects every business in the county that you're supposedly serving, and you're serving at the expense of because taxes pay for you.
Yeah.
Right now, you could get rid of most of the county's Department of Public Health and we'd be just fine.
Oh, absolutely.
So don't tell me we need more taxes. But when people talk about, it costs too much, it's taxes and everything, well, I said, well, wait a minute. Did you vote against all these things? Well, no. Okay. You let them go by.
So it's partly your fault.
Yes.
Now,
don't put it that way.
Don't put it that way. I guess that's part of the thing. It's difficult to you basically have to war game these conversations. You have to go through exactly what you're going to say because off the cuff, most people are really not good off the cuff the way they want to phrase things, especially when we're talking about politics, which can become a very passionate subject for a lot of people, especially if you're an engaged person, right? You're an engaged person and you're looking at all the destruction that's being wrought upon the country and you are frustrated by it. And you look at somebody who is either not engaged at all, doesn't vote for anything, or they're voting for the wrong thing. And your visceral reaction is this is partially your fault.
Right.
And that's going to come out in the way you address them unless you war game the whole situation. You know what your responses are going to be. You know what their responses are going to be on some level because they're your friends. So you should know how they're going to respond to some of these things. And you make sure that you cast it in a way that empowers them rather than puts upon them.
Is the goal to get a better community and society and policy, or is the goal to win the argument?
Right. That's a big part of how you approach those things.
What's amazing to me is how many people I'll see, this person said this, they were wrong. I showed them this video of Charlie Kirk setting it the way it was, and they just left mad. And I went, you can't handle the truth. I'm like, yeah, and you just solidified that person and all their friends are going to vote against you for the rest of their freaking life. So way to go.
Yeah.
Mike, you mentioned climate change a couple seconds ago.
It's killing us all. Don't buy stuff.
Earlier this week, David Stokes was a guest here on the station, and I remember him commenting that buried inside the two propositions for MSD, and he read the portion of the paragraph, and I didn't vote on it because MSD does not affect us out in Washington.
Right.
So I didn't have a chance to really look at it, but he said that the words climate change were mentioned in there.
Yes, they are.
That's how they reasoned the need for their new infrastructure change.
Now, there was part of it where they said to comply with new federal requirements.
Right.
Okay, well, that's reasonable to do that. But that one didn't have the actual cost on there. The other one said, here's what the cost is going to be for the taxes. But David's right. It was absolutely in there. I voted against both of them. I have a policy, if somebody says, hey, vote for Prop whatever, is this going to raise taxes?
Right. And if it is, I'm out.
Yeah, then the answer is no. And because they'll say, but it's going to be 3 cents a month on your property. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that 3 cents, then this 25 cents, and then this one, and then you do that over 20, 25, 30 years. And then all of a sudden, I'm at $50 a month, or I'm at the assessment changes in St. Louis County have raised our mortgage payment because all of our property taxes are rolled in that by a couple $100 a month because of the screwy system. But that's what you appeal to on this, I think, on this. Now, if you want to, walk up and they say, hey, we need to have this because we got to pay teachers more and it's just going to cost us all, $1 more per month. You can do that. And they've got their lines down. I'm not going to go with the teachers are grooming all the kids, even though I think a lot of them are.
Yeah.
But my question is always, is that going to raise taxes? Well, yeah, but it's not much. Okay, well, I don't vote for tax increases. I think government's cost me too much as it is. I'm more worried about that. And
they can figure it out.
Yeah, you try to do that. Like, listen, there's got to be something the school district can cut. There's probably some administrators pay. They could probably get rid of 15% of their administrators who are doing nothing.
They have way too many administrators.
There's way too many.
We know that for a fact.
But I think you look at it as here's how we're going to make it better. You don't make it about a war on a war on public schools, which frankly I'm willing to fight.
Sure. Yeah.
On that. But I actually went into my voting place on Big Bend the other day, which by the way, in St. Louis County, they've gone to this thing where as long as you got your ID with you, which you have to vote now, thank God, you can vote anywhere in the county, any polling place in the county. Yep. It does not have to be the one right next to your house, which is great because the one that I'm normally assigned to go to is a little bit farther away than the one closest to me. So I go in there, hand them the thing, they print up my ballots, all done. But there were a lot of people electioneering, and I'm sure that some of the abortion petitioners were there.
Sure.
But I actually went and started to go in the wrong door, and so I went around and didn't have to deal with any of them. But I used to like going in just so I could argue with them. And then at some point, I'm like, I'm not accomplishing anything.
Right. Yes.
By doing that. And I'm probably making somebody else look at me, and I'm reflecting my cause. And I'm just looking like a jerk to them. Now, I can be a jerk a lot. We know that. Ask my wife if you don't believe it. I can be. And I think there are times where you got to stand up and be in somebody's grill on something. But when it comes to winning over people who don't feel as passionately as we do, they've got to understand, hey, man, this is how it's going to affect you. I mean, is this what you want for your family? Tell me. And you've got to be able to hear them out.
Yeah.
And you got to be honest. You get these incremental increases, a little bit here, a little bit there.
Oh, those add up.
You know what? They add up, and pretty soon you're dealing with real money.
Yes.
And it's coming out of your banking account.
Ed on Rumble says, to right to your point, Stel, he says, small incremental tax increases just build up slowly, kind of like the frog in the pot of water,
That's
a slow
right.
boil.
That's right.
And that's why I've just decided I don't care what your proposition is for. If it raises taxes 1/100th of a penny, per month on me, I'm voting no on it.
Right.
At this point, we spend between local, state, federal taxes. Most people are, in real terms, losing 40 to 60% of their income to government at some level.
So we got to convince people to vote the right way.
Right. You've got to convince people to vote in their own self-interest. And that's the best way to do it. Now, there are some people whose self-interest is leeching off everybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
Those are the people I'd say, oh, I wouldn't worry about it if I were you. Just do something else. I really don't want that person voting.
But you definitely want to convince people. Owning the libs is like owning sea monkeys. It's like it's just it's just a matter of your imagination. That's all it is, and it's worthless.
I actually can't stand those videos of like the pundits who just yell and argue with college students on campus. I'm like, why are you wasting everybody's time on that? I can't stand those. All right, 314-912-1019. Hey, you know what today is? It is the unofficial, should be official holiday in St. Louis, home opening day. All right, what do you need to know? What's the timeline? I'm going to tell you because I would say things are about to get started in a couple hours, but let's be really honest. There are people imbibing downtown right now. When it comes to this kind of thing, St. Louis, we are professionals at this. I'll tell you what's going on right around 7:52 here at 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Sea monkeys.
Sea monkeys. By the way, one other note on this song that I remembered is from the movie Pretty Woman.
That's
it was
right.
also in that movie.
That's right.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
So that might have been where it really got its impetus.
If I really wanted to be totally nerdy on this, I would have said, a lot of people would have thought that this was Escape Club, but no, it's Go West. But no, it's a couple one-hit wonders. I know. Gabe's like, would you shut up?
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Congratulations to everyone at Connor Roofing. We chose the Connor Roofing team for our National Best of the Best award for customer satisfaction without telling anyone at Connor Roofing, based on over 30 years of fantastic customer reviews. Rob and Kathy Connor and their team deliver very high-quality roofing, siding, gutters, storm damage restoration at a fair price with integrity. Connor Roofing has had an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau for years. Count on Connor. For an estimate, please visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Does your life insurance plan include living benefits, hearing, diabetic supplies, teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones? Larry Connors here. I suggest you call Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Call 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Hey, I'd like you to get to know Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer. Those are dentists and my dental team, along with their dental team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. You know, whether it's economic value with their dental savings plan and their real concern about giving you value, which is, of course, quality at a great price, or whether it's their personal values, their dedication to absolute precision. I can tell you when I go in and get my treatment there, or just a cleaning, whatever, it's always, I get this feeling, it's like laser-guided precision. Well, yeah, they have lasers, but they don't do that for everything, of course. It's the right tool for the right job. Whether it is dental implants, whether it's just general dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, and by the way, he can use some Botox in all the right ways for those applications as well. You'll find the greatest of care, the greatest value, delivered with people who have real values, the values we share at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Get to know them by calling 636-978-0226, 636-978-0226, or advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
All right, it is opening day. This is the, first question here. Should this actually be a holiday in St. Louis? I mean, should like the city or the region declare it a local holiday or something?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that going to like cause businesses to give people a paid day off all day? No. But let's be honest, this is even if you're going to work today, there's a whole lot of you who are checked out. I mean, you're going to be watching or watching your phone for updates on the Cardinals game and everything. You're going to be watching the festivities on TV, right?
Yeah.
Man. Hey, by the way, our own Larry Connors, you can hear him every night here from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. He is the guest speaker tonight at the St. Louis City Republican meeting, which is going to be downtown on Hampton. So go to look up the St. Louis City Republicans website. Get you all the information that you can find. They're doing yeoman's work in the city. And our very own Larry Connors is going to be there. If you have not met Larry in person, there is something missing from your life. I'm just going to put it that way. That guy is awesome.
He's awesome. He is a legend, too.
Oh, man, is he ever. All right, 7:54 right now. So officially the opening day stuff starts in about 2 hours and 5 minutes, okay? Opening day pep rally at Ballpark Village. That starts from 10 o'clock and it goes to 12:30. If I were a gambling man, I would bet all the money in my wallet right now against all the money in your wallet. There is somebody at Ballpark Village right now just waiting. And there is somebody out there, even though the restaurants probably aren't open yet, who's already consumed a couple of beverages.
And they're standing on the Clark Street side trying to look through the fence.
That's right.
To see what's on the field and what's on the scoreboard. Because the scoreboard will probably say opening day with a fancy bunting kind of thing on the screen.
I've already seen it. It's really cool. They did a nice job. Very classy look at it this year. So that AI program that their staff uses did a great job.
Good.
No, it's actually, they've got great graphic designers on there. So what's going to happen? 10 o'clock. That's the pep rally. Obviously, Fred Bird, the DJ, the team organist, Cardinals alumni. They're going to be at the stage there at the Together Credit Union Plaza for the pep rally. This is free to everybody. You do not have to have a ticket to the game to get in and be a part of this. So that's going to be a lot of prizes, a lot of giveaways, and all that sort of thing. They are actually going to be giving away a couple tickets to opening day. So if you don't have a ticket, but you just want to hang out at the thing, there is a chance you could actually win an opening day ticket there. And then at noon is when they open the gates to the stadium. And that they're giving away a magnet with the schedule on it today. But right after that, right after noon, the Cardinals will do their batting practice starting at 12:05, and then the Marlins will do their batting practice at 1 o'clock, and then 2:30 is when all the pregame stuff starts. So the Clydesdales will lead everything off with the pregame parade around the field there. That's at 2:30. Then they're going to have Fredberg come out and get everybody worked up, and then the front office guys are going to come out and probably get booed by everybody. Then it's the Cardinals Hall of Famers, and those are the ones going to be in the Mustangs. Ford Mustang convertible motorcade. With the Cardinals Hall of Famers, and then the other Cardinals alumni, not Hall of Famers, but the guys who played, they're going to be out there. And then it's the parade of the 2024 St. Louis Cardinals in the Ford F-150 pickup truck motor parade as well.
Sitting in the beds, probably on top of bales of hay.
Yes, yes. Then they'll introduce the Miami Marlins, and St. Louis is really cool about that. It's like, hey, thanks for being a part of our opening day. And then country music artist Michael B. Witt is going to be performing the national anthem, and then the ceremonial first pitches is going to be thrown by members of the 2004 National League Championship team, and then 3:15 it is the home opener under some cold conditions. It's gonna be about what do they say, about 50 degrees? I think
a little
out
under.
there. So wear 2 or 3 thin layers, you'll be fine. Or a thick coat or something, you'll be just fine.
Buy a hot chocolate.
Buy hot chocolate. There'll be a lot of people like, I'll just drink a bunch of beer, I'll be fine. Well, you'll feel fine, but you won't be fine. Go Cards.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, EIFS, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Katie here, and I'd like to talk to you guys about Michael's Flooring Outlet. You could gain peace of mind with Michael's Flooring Outlet for your flooring and carpet installation needs. Their team of experts ensures that the job is done right the first time, providing you with attentive and personalized service. Just like my parents, you can trust them to replace your old carpet with beautiful hardwood flooring. Visit one of their 3 locations in Dardenne Prairie, St. Peters, or Creve Coeur, or check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Honesty, integrity, humility, purpose. We're looking for people that share these values. As an officer in the Springfield, Missouri Police Department, you'll train in a state-of-the-art facility, learn special skills, and most importantly, learn that being humble through it all builds a better community. Our next training academy starts soon. Work hard and dedicate yourself to the craft, and I promise you'll have some amazing opportunities. Visit gospd.com for more information. That's gospd.com. Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Request denied. A judge has rejected Donald Trump's bid to delay the start of his upcoming New York criminal trial.
Lawyers for the former president asked for a delay of the hush money trial until the Supreme Court rules in Trump's immunity claim in his Washington, D.C. election interference case. But the judge said no. The trial is scheduled to begin April 15th. Meanwhile, federal prosecutors are scolding the judge presiding over Trump's classified documents case in Florida. They're unhappy with the slow pace and are questioning the judge's approach, arguing that her jury instructions are based on a fundamentally flawed legal premise. Greg Clugston, the White House.
They're closing the gap with the opposition. Former President Trump and the Republicans ended last month with just over $93 million in their campaign coffers.
That's a significant increase as they try to catch up to the fundraising of President Joe Biden and the Democrats. Biden and the Democratic National Committee have not yet released their fundraising numbers for March, but their political operation says they brought in $53 million in February and closed out that month with $155 million cash on hand. Biden has been fundraising jointly with his party since he launched launched his re-election campaign, while Trump first had to clear a field of challengers. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
There's a Biden-Netanyahu phone call on the agenda today. The president and the Israeli prime minister will talk for the first time since an airstrike killed a group of aid workers in Gaza. Parts of the east battening down the hatches as a nor'easter intensifies, bringing heavy snow to parts of New Hampshire and Maine, along with a threat of coastal flooding from New York to Maine. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures are up 196 points, while the NASDAQ futures are ahead 140 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Oh, I cracked the hull of my new ski boat today. Oh my gosh, why'd you do that? It's not like I was trying to do it, you know. Sorry, that's rough, my bad, bro. Did anyone witness this epic fail? Yes, there's videos galore, and now I'm a meme.
Accidents don't just happen in sea shanties, so Progressive Boat Insurance has you covered. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you can save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and not available for all boats or in all situations.
She's gone from reporting on the sidelines to making sense of the headlines. It's the Michelle Tafoya podcast on the Salem Podcast Network.
There are people, Democrat operatives, that are saying, things are not looking good. Maybe Mr. Biden needs to bow out. Maybe the president needs to take a look at what's best for the party and say, you know what? I'm not going to run again.
Subscribe to the Michelle Tafoya podcast today on Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a chilly home opener for the Redbirds and a breezy one, too. An afternoon high of about 50 degrees, some gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. Clouds increase this morning, dreary skies at times, and a slight chance of a shower this afternoon. Now, most of that misses Busch Stadium to the east, but I can't rule out a quick stray shower over the ballpark. Clearing tonight down to 36 in St. Louis with a freeze warning just west of the metro, but a warming trend begins tomorrow. Partly cloudy Friday, up to 58. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
If you just recently inherited a property and you're not sure what to do with it, maybe it needs a lot of work, but you know you need to get it sold, reach out today. 314-417-1000. 417-1000. My name's Chad Clayman with Clayman Real Estate, where we've been buying houses directly from the seller with no middleman involved for over 90 years. We're a family business, and we help simplify the sale for folks that don't want to list the house on the market and have to deal with the entire sales process. And we specialize with people that just recently inherited a house. We're very familiar with the probate process, so if that is you, please reach out and we can simplify your sale today. 314-417-1000. 314-417-1000. And we've been doing it for over 90 years. So if you have a house that you'd like to sell, whether you inherited it or it needs work, please reach out as we can make you a simple, fair cash offer. 314-417-1000. 314-417-1000.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, let's just kind of call it like it is. Here. Okay, we've got, and I don't mean to make light of any of these things, but we've got the ongoing tragedy of Israel's war of self-defense in the Middle East. We've got the United States presidential administration ready to turn its back on Israel.
Oh, yeah.
We've got, an election going on, presidential governor in Missouri, Congress critters all over both sides of the state line. We've got taxes just being raised here in the St. Louis area. We've got, the horrible crime situation that the federal government's now sending in extra help for the city of St. Louis because they've identified it as being in need. So we got all this going on, but you know what we're all really talking about today? I mean, let's be honest. What's on St. Louis's mind today?
Baseball!
Opening day, baby. I literally just got a text from one of my buddies, James. He's like, happy opening day. And he means that because this is supposed to be a holiday here in St. Louis. So that's what's on our mind.
Yes.
It's like the other stuff's important, but it'll be important tomorrow too.
Right.
That's really where we're at. Okay, so last night, this is not in the show plan here, guys.
Yeah, we're pantsing it right now.
312-912-1019. So Matt, one of my good friends from the baseball stuff, we were over at after our baseball practice, we were over at Hot Shots in Afton last night. And so I was in there and we were watching the end of some of the ball games and getting our food. And I noticed MLB Network was up on one of the TVs there. And I asked Matt, I said, do you have MLB Network? I've got it on my radio, but I don't have the TV, and he doesn't. I said, what about MLB TV? Because those are two different things, right? MLB TV, you're supposed to be able to subscribe, and then you can watch your favorite team, and you can watch all the other games and stuff, except for your local team.
Which is so crazy to me.
Right.
I don't understand.
So, if I want to watch the Cardinals, and I think it's a couple $100 a year, maybe $250 a year or something like that, for MLB TV. $250, something like that for the whole year. MLB Network, I don't think is quite that much, and you can get whatever games they pick. It's just another cable channel out there.
Right.
But you have to put in your zip code, and in case you decide to just make up a zip code or do one from, Fort Wayne, Indiana or something like that, they're going to compare it to where your zip code is on your payment.
Well, and your IP address.
And your IP address too. And you're not going to be allowed to watch the Cardinals. Well, I would probably subscribe if I could watch the Cardinals. So I could pick out, any other team. I could pick out the, I could pick out the Royals, or I could pick out whoever else. I mean, Stell, you could pick out the Cubs. I could pick out anybody.
Janet would get the Maple Leafs.
And so you could do that, but I would be able to watch any of those other teams unless they're playing the Cardinals.
Right.
And then it would be blacked out in my area.
Yeah.
And so people are going, this is really stupid. Well, they don't want you to. I'm sure MLB would love to carry all the games to be able to get all those extra subscribers. But Bally, in this area, Bally, I mean, in New York, it'd be Yes. And in Chicago, what's it called in Chicago?
Is it Marquee Network?
Marquee, yeah, that's it. And so when they took it kind of all away from WGN but
sadly,
because WGN was legendary. I used to watch that when I was a kid all the time. It was WGN in the daytime and then KPLR at night, with the games. And so, Bally's like, hey, we spend millions of dollars to get the rights to these games. You don't get to sell access for a couple $100 and cost us viewers.
Right.
So I get that. But when you look at the evolution of us being consumers, like I said, when I was a kid, I lived in Decatur, Illinois, in grade school. Daytime in the summer, my mom is a school teacher, so she was home. Daytime in the summer, during the day, we've got WGN on the local cable, and we're watching the Cubs game. At nighttime, we had KPLR on the local cable. We're watching the Cardinals.
And since you had cable, maybe even the Braves.
Later on, WTBS. That's right. I think that wasn't on I was actually there when they first installed cable. So I actually remember, and it was like 12 or 15 channels or something like that. But then WTBS came along, and so we could all watch the Braves too. And we watched the over-the-air television, and you had the ads between innings, and that's how they paid for the games. They all made a profit. Everybody's happy. Well, now you got to subscribe to Bally, or subscribe to MLB TV, or subscribe to ESPN Plus, or subscribe to whoever. And so you're paying a subscription fee, and they still sell all the ads. And so you're paying to watch the ads
right.
that, used to pay for everything.
Kind of amazing.
And I was kind of lamenting. I said, if I just want to watch baseball, which I do, by the end of the day here, and the end of the day for me is about 2:00, 2, 3 o'clock, something like that. And I want to work out, or I want to watch a ball game. And it's really, really hard sometimes to find just a game.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm like, I don't care what the game is. I have watched more Oregon State baseball than anybody else because the Pac-10 will have a streaming service and let you watch their games.
You even go international with it too, don't you?
When the COVID shutdowns were happening, YouTube was broadcasting Korean baseball games. I was watching Korean baseball games live because I could. And so I got to think that
Mike's over here fiending for baseball.
I know. I'm like jonesing. I'm like
I'm surprised you don't have an Oregon, or is it Oregon State?
Oregon State. It's the Beavers.
The Beavers.
Beavers. So
Okay.
Oregon State. And they're nationally ranked, so it was decent baseball. But I don't even really care who's playing, but I'd rather watch the local teams.
Yeah, obviously.
You know, I'd rather do that. But I get the business concerns of it.
Sure.
But it just seems like it's a dumb thing. Bally is still trying to fend off bankruptcy.
Right.
Now, if I subscribe to Bally for, I don't know, what is it, $25-$30 a month or something like that, 20, 25, 30, I don't know. You do get the Blues games as well. But I don't care about all the other stuff. You know, now MLB, I would subscribe and, you know, if the Cardinals aren't on, I'll watch the Red Sox versus the, you know, whatever.
Blue Jays.
Blue Jays. Sure, I'll watch those. I mean, that's fine. You know, but they're making it harder for fans to see the games. And that's got to be hurting the overall product. So as consumers, we're like, wait a minute, we're willing to watch the games, which you turn around and sell our viewership for the advertising, and that's how the market is supposed to work. But now you want me to pay to watch the advertising. Well, because the costs are so high, they can't sell the ads for that much money without doing the rest of it. So somebody is off kilter in the market.
Yeah, I just, the fragmentation of TV markets, I mean, I think sports has kind of become the canary in the coal mine. Actually, we're at late stage, actually, so not so much that they're the early indicators, but they're basically the biggest example of why the fragmentation of the cable market is a problem right now, and it needs to reset again. It used to be we just had the few channels, then cable, and you had to buy packages, right? And that was the whole idea was
tiers.
You had the different tiers of packages. Like, man, I got to jump a whole tier to get this one channel, and I get 150 other channels that I'm never going to watch. And people were rebelling against that idea. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to cut the cord. I'm going to start basically piecemealing it. Well, there's this streaming service and that streaming service, and then you end up having bundles again. That's kind of where we are. There are now streaming service bundles.
So now if you want ESPN Plus, you can subscribe to the right tier of Hulu.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
You know, so if you want to watch like Blues hockey, you can get around the Bally thing if the game is on ESPN Plus, because Bally doesn't have all the games.
Yeah. If you're a football person, you can do the NFL Network, I think, through Prime. I think they've got some sort of subscription service you can get through there. So it's
which I would never do.
We're moving back towards this consolidation. Like I just wish they get the formula right.
And you know who's getting it right?
Yeah.
The UFL. Because you know where you can watch their games? On Fox.
Free TV.
Over-the-air TV.
There you go.
And they're doing just fine.
Yeah. And Gabe, you mentioned football. Yeah. Go back a few months to the one game that everybody wanted to see, and I don't remember who it was, if it was the Miami Dolphins and somebody else, and you had to get a Peacock Network.
That's right. Peacock Network.
Subscription.
Yeah.
And boy,
not their over-the-air, but the Peacock.
Boy, they made a bunch of money, and I'm sure the other companies were looking at that and going, ooh, look at Peacock getting 23 million or whatever, 28 million viewers times whatever they were charging, $25 for the game or 20. Ooh.
Yeah.
So you're right, Gabe. The whole fragmentation is crazy.
It's like you're selling like a boxing or UFC pay-per-view, but you want to do it 100 times a year.
Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly.
No.
I mean, and the thing is, Peacock is a streaming service, a premium premium streaming service based on an over-the-air network. Provider. It's NBC.
NBC.
Right. So it's just like, what's going on right now?
But I think part of what's going on is that we don't make appointments to watch TV shows anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know, because you remember growing up, all of us, it was like, oh, man, I really want to watch, the A-Team. Or MASH or
Miami Vice.
Moonlighting. Or Cheers or whatever,
Remember the blocks of programming?
Yes.
It's like Friday night something or other, and then you have 2 hours of something.
You had to be home, and at 7 o'clock, you were there. You know? But now we don't want to do that anymore. So that's the market speaking on this. And it's all the confusion is part of the free market chaos. I think they do need to reset.
Yeah.
But I need to do it in a free market way, because what's happening right now is you already got people like, FCC needs to come in and crack down on this. No, you don't.
No,
you don't. Let us figure out. I like the a la carte thing because it is a free market thing. Because like every once in a while, Rachel and I will just go through all of our subscriptions. We're like, wait a minute. Why are we subscribed to this channel? Oh, Outlander was on that. Well,
Yeah.
we don't really watch Outlander anymore. Okay, so we'll delete that, and there's $15 a month is back. And the last time we did that, we ended up saving ourselves like $80 a month
Yeah,
of
seriously.
subscriptions that we forgot that we had.
Remember when a full cable package was $80 a month?
Oh, I remember when it was $40 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
You
So
know?
that's wild.
But so like for a town like St. Louis, where we're a baseball crazy town,
Mm-hmm.
and you know the stadium seats 48,000, something like that, 46,000, and so there's going to be 46 to 48,000 people in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to probably be another 40, 50,000, there at Ballpark Village or in all the sports bars in Ballpark Village, watching the game. Other people are going to be going. I did it again. Other people are going to be going to all your favorite sports bars. But if you don't want to do that, you got to pay a premium to just see the local team. And that just seems like bad business.
It does.
On their part.
Yeah.
And one other odd thing, and I'll jump on the radio side very quickly. Kathy and I live literally 2 miles outside of the radius for the radio broadcast of the local station.
Right.
Well, I'll just say the KMOX broadcast.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And as soon as we get on the app, we get a little announcement that comes on. We're sorry, but you live outside the 50-mile broadcast area for your home team, so you will not be able to listen on this particular app. Oh, come on. I'm 2 miles outside the radius.
So you have to be within 50 miles to listen to it.
Yes.
On the
And
app.
On the app. Yes. On that app.
Which is wild.
It would make more sense for them to say, hey, you're within the area. You have to listen over the air.
Yeah, over the air, yeah.
So
why are they doing
outside-
this?
That doesn't make any sense.
You're 52 miles out. Sorry, you're 2 miles over the limit. So you can't listen.
So you get nothing.
So I get nothing. Yeah.
So
well, it's just the regular KMOX broadcast,
Right.
whatever they have available as an alternate stream at that time.
Man, it's no wonder Soros bought those things.
Man. Maybe he can get that straightened out.
Who knows?
Oh.
But that was very frustrating last
my
year, trying to
gosh.
figure out, why are you doing this to the fans?
Yeah. I mean, this is they're leaving the market on the table.
Yes.
Is what they're doing.
Mhm.
I mean, even if you just had like regular, cable or something, I mean, that's one thing. If anybody still has regular cable,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you do or not. I don't.
It's like
I haven't had it in
30%
years.
of the market, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you can find hundreds of channels of reruns that you can find. But
Mhm.
this is a market that looks for a specific product, and in a city like St. Louis, you got to be leveraging that, man. I mean, people are going to find a way to watch the game, but at some point you price people out of your market. So the market's got to reset itself, and to some degree, MLB and these teams have got to figure out, you can't layer on high, all of these costs eventually go to the consumer.
Yeah.
Everything goes to the consumer. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point you price the consumer out of the market, and eventually that leads to people not being part of your fan base anymore. You just can't risk that.
Yeah.
All right, 314-912-1019. Let's dump some news on you here around 822 on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
Don't try to make me stop, no inspiration. You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your curtain call. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up, get up.
This week on News Talk STL.
Freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas.
What we saw was the performance of a permanent politician.
I'm running for re-election.
We will have a victory.
I want you to imagine the future nightmare if Trump's back in office.
He's been a disaster as a president.
News, analysis, and opinion.
We deserve someone that's not pushing, 80, 90.
The choice in November is going to be
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
All right, it's warm, it's hot, it's cold. It's typical St. Louis weather right now. And one of the things that you may notice, and this happened in my house the other day, we have had the air conditioner on for a little while. It doesn't really kick on that much because it's been, warm. It's been in the 70s. It's been perfect. We've been able to open the windows. And then it gets cold, and my wife wants us to turn on the heat, which we did. She wants to fire up the fireplace because it got cold again. And one of the things you can learn from this is that your home may not be as energy efficient as you want it to be. That's why you got to call my friends at Window World. Mike Ferguson here for Window World. Remember, they are simply the best for less. And that is a crucial thing to remember. Matter of fact, when it comes to those windows, we talked about their lifetime warranty, double strength glass windows, the way it's going to protect your home, especially in the storms like we had just a couple of weeks ago here. And even if the storms overtake them and there's a crack or something, lifetime warranty means lifetime warranty. They will replace it for free for the life of your home here, the life of your home there. They also offer 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. But let's talk about that energy efficiency. Energy costs are just going up. And they just, when I say they, the industry regulators and standards, they just put out the new Energy Star 7 program, and Window World already surpasses those standards. So they are so energy efficient, you will have a warmer home in the winter and you will have a cooler home in the summer because Window World windows are that good. And remember, they are the best for less. So all of that for less money than even a typical standard generic window that you would have to customize your home to put in, whereas Window World will customize the window for your home. Give them a call today. 314-993-1800. Get that free in-home estimate. They will just bring it out and show it to you and demonstrate how strong they are. No pressure, no obligation, but just give them a call. They'll take some measurements. They will give you a custom quote for that. 314-993-1800. You can learn more at windowworld.com if you want. But the best thing to do is call our St. Louis-owned office, our St. Louis neighbors, right here in Earth City at 314-993-1800. When you're on I-70, you see the big Window World low right there by the Riverport exit by St. Charles. That's Window World. Locally owned, locally managed, been here for over 20 years. They know what they're doing. And give them a call, 314-993-1800. These products are not just durable, they are secure, they are really attractive, and of course, they are energy efficient. It's going to improve the look and the security and the value of your home. So get that home estimate and let them show you how they are simply the best for less.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Female millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Ken Kruger. I've gotten to know these guys really well over the last few years. Yes, St. Louis Bath and Renovation. They're the most trusted name in bathroom remodelers in the St. Louis area. In fact, if you need bathroom repairs, complete bathroom remodeling, or handyman services, call St. Louis Bath and Renovation at 314-477-6476 or email Rob at stlbr.com. That's St. Louis Bath and Renovation.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7200. 7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
News, analysis, opinion.
You know, they're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, here we go. The guy who devastated a family with his recklessness says he's the one who's been treated unfairly. Yeah, we'll get into that here in a second. Also, 3 Missouri lawmakers being sued by the guy who was falsely accused of being a murderer. I want to touch on that a little bit later. We might do that around 8:35 real quick. And, of course, it's home opening day. Where are you going to be this afternoon? I bet you're going to be watching the game.
Yeah, probably.
Yep. All right. It is.
If I can find it.
Yeah, right. It is 8:26 right now. All right. The man who caused the crash that robbed Janae Edmondson of her legs wants another trial. KMOV, our news partner, and Corey Stark has the details of the timeline.
According to Riley's attorneys, due to multiple, quote, improper rulings of the court, he was denied a right to a fair trial. The motion comes nearly a month after Riley was found guilty on multiple counts for the 2023 downtown St. Louis crash. At this time, Riley's sentencing hearing is set for April 18th. Well, this news comes as a civil lawsuit against the city of St. Louis filed by Edmondson's family moves forward. A judge denied the city's motion to dismiss the lawsuit, which claims the city failed to maintain a safe intersection. A trial for that is set for next March.
Okay, so right around 8:35, I want to get into this too. The lawyer is making an unusual claim as to why he says Daniel Riley was treated unfairly. It's kind of mind-numbingly cold-hearted.
Yes, it is.
You know, so I'll tell you what that is. We'll get into that here in just
Pretty
a couple
gross.
of minutes. So I'm trying to balance it's his job to defend his client, and he has an ethical obligation to try to do that.
Right.
But at some point, does it become too ridiculous and too cold-hearted? I mean, basically, what they're looking to put the Edmondson family through again is just unacceptable in my mind. All right, update from Baltimore. Governor Wes Moore of Maryland giving an update yesterday afternoon regarding the recovery, the salvage, the trying to get things back to normal after that bridge collapse when it was hit by the cargo ship. He part of his discussion yesterday laid out what they're calling their priorities to guide the rest of the projects.
First, we need to give closure to these families. Second, we need to clear the channel and open vessel traffic to the port. Third, we need to take care of our people, all the people who have been affected by this crisis.
I don't know anything about Wes Moore other than he's a Democrat and he's the governor. I just don't know anything about him. And that right there, that was a good answer that he gave everybody. We take care of the people who've been affected, closure, that's correct. And then he immediately said, we've got to reopen the port. Now, a lot of times when something like this happens, somebody screams, you're making this all about money. You know, you're about commerce. We've got people's lives. Okay, listen, commerce provides for people's lives.
Yes.
We've got to keep that in mind. It is crucial that they get that bridge rebuilt. It's crucial that they get the channel back open again. It's estimated that $15 million a day in economic activity happens in that port. Well, that's people who are at all income levels, who work in something directly related to that, and are affected by this now, who are either out of work or trying to get unemployment where they're not getting their full paycheck, and they're still trying to provide in an inflation-laden economy right now. So when we talk about getting the economic activity back up and running, that is about people.
Yeah, it's a mistake to think that any discussions about money are automatically shallow.
Right.
Yes, there are certain discussions about money that are incredibly shallow. They're all about, greed and wanting. But what we're talking about are livelihoods.
Right.
And, livelihood is derived from life. People need to live in this world, and money is a very big part of that.
Yep. All right. But what are people really talking about here in St. Louis today? Well, they're talking about the opening day. Redbirds, by the way, won the series against the Padres, but they did not get the sweep after winning the first two games of the series. The Cardinals lost to the Padres last night. Final score 3-2. But today, they're at Busch Stadium today for the 2024 home opener against the Marlins. That is a 3:15 first pitch. Lance Lynn going to be on the bump for the Cardinals. The home opener festivities start in 90 minutes at Ballpark Village. The Blues have a 3-game road trip tonight. They're in Nashville for this one. Game starts at 7 o'clock. 7 games left in the season. Almost over for the Blues this year. Blues are 40-31-4, which means no matter what, they're going to finish over 500.
By the way, a couple of baseball notes.
Yes.
Lance Lynn
has
to be excited being back at Busch Stadium. Having been a former Cardinal, here he is back again, starting at the home opener. And Don on YouTube made a comment about what are we going to see regarding the Bud Light boycott? Will we see much at the ballpark?
See, that's interesting because they only sell Budweiser AB products, InBev products there.
Yeah.
You're good luck trying to get yourself a Yingling or a Modelo there.
That's not going to happen.
It is all AB products, or at least it was last year when I was out of games. They don't have the others. They're not going to allow that. So basically, get loaded before the game.
Well, you can still do the brand specific.
My lawyers say I should tell you not to do that. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, you can still do the brand specific boycott.
Right.
I mean, because they do track which brands are moving, and Bud Light is particularly been hit as a brand, even if some of their other offshoots like Shock Top and stuff like that aren't doing as bad.
Yeah. So that's bottom line. It's going to be really hard to boycott it there. But hey, you can always buy water, soft drinks.
I'm trying to find a box of Cracker Jack. Somebody help me out.
It is possible to enjoy a baseball game without getting lit up on beer.
Well, that's true.
I'm saying you can do it.
That's true.
I've done it. It's possible. All right, let's talk about this guy who cost Janae Edmondson her legs. He's arguing that he's the one that was treated unfairly, and the reason that his lawyer is giving for this might make your blood boil a little bit. But hey, you got to stay warm today anyway. Let's talk about that around 8:35.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a chilly home opener for the Redbirds and a breezy one, too. An afternoon high of about 50 degrees, some gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. Clouds increase this morning, dreary skies at times, and a slight chance of a shower this afternoon. Now, most of that misses Busch Stadium to the east, but I can't rule out a quick stray shower over the ballpark. Clearing tonight down to 36 in St. Louis with a freeze warning just west of the metro, but a warming trend begins tomorrow. Partly cloudy Friday, up to 58. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt James.
Fox News commentary.
The illegal alien invaders who rushed Texas National Guardsmen have been marked for release by a judge. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Are you over 30 and putting off life insurance? It's time to get a quick quote from Ethos. A better, easier way to get term life insurance. All online with no medical exam. Answer a few health questions and you could be approved for up to $2 million. Isn't it worth 10 minutes to help protect your family's financial security? Ethos. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
About a week ago, a horde of illegals bum-rushed the Texas National Guardsmen situated to protect and defend the border. It was a hostile invasion, to say the least. But if you thought those invaders were going to pay the price, well, you thought wrong. Because those illegals who were initially arrested for that incident have been marked for release. The magistrate judge Humberto Acosta ordered the release of 39 of the 200, and his reasoning? That the El Paso DA's office hadn't scheduled individual detention hearings for each defendant. So in that case, the judge decided it would be better to just release them on the honor system. The honor system? They destroyed the border barrier and trampled law enforcement, and the judge thinks they should be given the benefit of the doubt? We are living in the upside down, and our country is being made a mockery of thanks to Joe. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
You're personally invited to hear from a man who, like you, deeply values individual freedom and liberty. He likes law and order. Larry Connors, with his trademark wit and wisdom, is ready to dive headfirst into today's topics and dish out stories hotter than a St. Louis summer. Ever hear of a guy standing on top of the Gateway Arch? Yep, that was Larry. Come see Larry live this Thursday, April 4th at 7 p.m. Get the details at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Freedom isn't just a word, it should be a way of life for all Missourians. Wouldn't it be wonderful to live in a state where you're free from excessive taxes, regulations, and corporate handouts, and free to send your children to the school of your choice? That's why we at the Show Me Institute put together our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, a roadmap on how the state can progress to a bright future. The blueprint covers policy ideas from a Bill of Rights for parents to government transparency, school report cards, healthcare reform, and more. Our vision is for Missouri to be a place where entrepreneurs can pursue their dreams, parents are free to direct the education of their children, and a growing economy provides opportunities for all. Critical to achieving this vision is a government that understands the value of freedom in the lives and future of our people. Check out our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it is absolutely about power.
When I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
The man who cost Janae Edmondson her legs says he's been treated unfairly by the courts, or at least his lawyer says that. And one of the reasons he gave will probably really tick you off.
Yeah.
Get to that here in just a minute. 8:37 right now. Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. Happy home opening day. We got to come up with a better term. It's just home opening day. It's been that way for decades. But there's got to be something. Cards opener. I don't know, something. All right. By the way.
Redbird Day.
Redbird Day. Oh, I like that. Redbird Day. Just a quick update. The 3 Missouri state lawmakers, and they're all Freedom Caucus guys, are actually being sued now by the guy who was falsely accused of being both an illegal immigrant and a murderer.
Right.
From the Chiefs rally where that shooting happened at the Chiefs celebration back in, February, I guess.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That was big.
Right. So Senators Rick Bratton, Denny Hoskins, and Nick Schroer are being sued because they retweeted a post by a congressman who took another post and with this guy's picture and saying, look at this illegal immigrant. He's been identified as, some Arab name. And, he's murdered. The Biden administration's policies are held responsible. Well, the guy was just some guy from Olathe, Kansas, who was drunk, and they mistook him for somebody. And a couple minutes after the picture was taken, they're like, all right, go home, dude.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. All they did was sit him down on the curbside.
Right. Yeah. But he was in handcuffs, and
poor guy sitting there gets his photo taken, and there it goes.
And so now we'll say this: Nick Schroer's, and we said this at the time.
Yeah.
Nick Schroer's post asked the question. Basically, he was saying, "Is this true?"
Right.
And so I'm not sure how you win a lawsuit over that. The other guys, there were a lot of people who posted it and say, "See, look at this," and they took it as fact. With free speech comes responsibility for your what you say.
Yes.
And so you can be pro free speech and say, but yeah, people have a right to be compensated when you do something to hurt them. I think Nick's, like I said, is he asked the question.
Yes.
And there are right and wrong ways to ask the question. And when you say, is this true? That's the right way to do it. And I don't remember the exact wording, but that's basically what he was saying. But there were others who got out there and just retweeted it as though it was truth. And they, basically ran with what the congressman said. And they really probably do have some liability.
Oh yeah, I mean, the freedom is the matter of, well, you can swing your arms however you want until you hit somebody in the face.
Right.
They hit this guy in the face with their words. They really did. Because if I'm that guy and I'm just minding my own business, I'm having a good time and celebrating my team winning a championship. Maybe I got a little sauce. Maybe I found myself in the wrong place at the wrong time, even though everybody, from all what they understood, they were in the right place at the right time until, a split-second event changed it all. And then now I've got to explain to the, folks at church, folks at my job, or if I'm an independent contractor, I have to convince potential customers that I'm not a murderer.
Right.
It's like, come on, man, that's a lot.
Or an Islamic terrorist.
Or Islamic illegal alien tailors. Yeah. Gosh.
So everybody, don't mindlessly retweet stuff.
Please.
Just don't.
Gosh.
Don't do it.
It'll cost you.
All right. Daniel Riley convicted last month now, because it's April now. So convicted last month in that crash that cost Janae Edmondson her legs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was convicted on second-degree assault, armed criminal action, operating a motor vehicle without a license. He's scheduled to be sentenced in 2 weeks on the 18th. Well, his lawyer is asking for a new trial before even the sentence comes. One of the reasons, they're arguing that the court made errors in judgment and did not give him a fair trial. But get this.
Yeah, what errors are being listed here?
The attorney, whose name is Daniel Dimer, Dimer. Okay. Now, I'm first of all, I'm gonna say this with the right context: is a defense lawyer's job is to advocate for your client. Your defense lawyers, when you've got a horrible human being for a client, let's even worse than this guy, pick out whatever the worst person is. We don't have a justice system unless they have a vigorous, aggressive defense. So don't get mad at every defense lawyer who defends, people who do terrible things. We have to have those people. Otherwise, we have a system where the government just runs over the top of anybody and everybody. So keep that in mind.
You all right?
Yeah, a little down the windpipe there.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So among the claims in the motion to set aside the first ruling and start a new trial is that he says the legal error is that Janae Edmondson was allowed to enter the court without her prosthetic legs on, showing the jury her truncated legs, and she was allowed to be wheeled in a wheelchair to show the court how bad this affected her. And he says that is part of the legal error, as it's reported here.
So stupid. Oh, my God.
That the court shouldn't have done that, basically showing how bad this was on her, literally showing her with her legs gone. So apparently he's saying that she should have been required to wear her new prosthetic legs, walk in, I don't know, wear a pretty dress and smile.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
what was she supposed to do?
To twirl.
Because that the prosecution said, listen, we've got to make the jury see the impact of this. The
Yes.
seriousness
Obviously,
of this.
yes.
Don't wear those prosthetics. I know you hate the wheelchair, but you got to be in the wheelchair. And maybe the family's like, no, we're going to make sure this guy sees what he did. We're going to make sure they see what he did. Whoever made that decision, that makes sense.
Yes.
But for the lawyer to say it was an error in judgment, it was not fair to my client that the jury saw the full impact of what he did to her legs.
So it's such a destructive idea.
Yeah.
It really is. Because there are so many different ways you could approach it that just cause it to crumble, just from a legal jurisprudence, common sense sort of way of looking at things. So, okay, if prosthetics legs did not exist as a thing yet, because it's been a while, and so then it would be unfair in until the invention of prosthetics legs to show the impact. For her to come in on a wheelchair, if she couldn't afford prosthetic legs, because those things are expensive.
Oh yeah.
Then that is also unfair. So it's a money thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's so many different ways to argue that this is a stupid standard to set if the judge were to agree with that idea.
Yeah, which I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the court system the way that so many others do. My hope is that the judge kind of tears the lawyer a new one
Yes.
for making this argument, not because I've got anything against the lawyer. He's trying to advocate for his client. But to set the standard is you're not going to do that. You're not going to victim shame in order to try to get your client a better deal.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not saying I'm going to be all down on defense attorneys. We need defense attorneys.
And they need to provide a rigorous defense.
Yes.
That's a constitutional right. That's a built into our system so that we can have fair jurisprudence.
And in honestly, in criminal cases, we really underfund public defenders, in my opinion, as well.
Same. Yep.
So I want to like balance that out. But with this particular argument, say, how dare you let people see what happened?
Yeah, it's so wild.
The full effect of what happened on this is just a ridiculous and I hate the word offensive, but it's just an angering argument to say, well, part of your error court is that you let the jury see the results of what happened.
Yeah, it's so disgusting.
I mean, are we going to ban victim impact statements as well?
Yeah, seriously. It's like you can't show photos of the destroyed vehicles or the crime scene or
right.
If someone is accused of murder, you can't show the murder scene because there's too much blood.
Well, along those
scary.
lines, he also argued that using photographs from the accident scene, which were apparently very explicit as far as the damage and blood and all that. The lawyer says in the filing that it was a gore fest. And it was a gore fest because your client created a gore fest. Why should the judge and jury not see the absolute horrific scene that he caused?
Yeah, it's so wild to me that argument because, like I said, you take it to its logical conclusion as a standard for every other sort of crime, and it blows up the entire system.
Right.
You can't show the results of anybody doing anything bad to anybody.
Right. And so I think the judge is going to say, yeah, no. If you want to appeal the verdict, okay, have at it.
Yeah.
You want to appeal whatever this sentence is going to be, that's your right. You can do that. But to say, give me a do-over because people saw what my client did, should not fly.
And that's I think the extent to which the larger implications of that argument could upend the justice system, I think, is a reason why the judge should tear that lawyer a new one.
And my guess is they're going to deny it and say, hey, appeal if you want.
Sure.
But also, that's going to be part of the lawsuit against the city, which another judge has said can proceed. And it should proceed.
Right, and the lawsuit against the city is, in this case, their negligence in dealing with the convicted or Daniel Riley.
Well, he's convicted. Yeah,
convicted.
Perpetrator.
Perpetrator.
Yeah.
They are complicit in this. They basically armed him, as somebody to destroy society, essentially. It's like okay, we found somebody who is a danger to society, we being the city, and we decide, well, it's not that big of a deal if we let him go free. It's not that big a deal that he violates his various orders on where he can proceed. It's not that big a deal, but it became a really big deal.
Remember, there are consequences for the pro-criminal policy approach and mindset that the far left leadership of St. Louis City brings. And this is one of those. Daniel Riley is the one who's responsible for what happened to Janae Edmondson.
Yeah.
But like you said, he could have been prevented from ever being in that car, period, if the city did not have such a pro-criminal mindset. And at the time, Kimberly Gardner simply was negligent and would not do her job and actually put people in jail. And the city, of course, is more worried about left-wing ideologies than they are arresting and imprisoning criminals.
And they're going to continue to run away from the consequences of their bad policies so long as it's not made explicit through various court challenges like this one. I hope they take them to the cleaners.
Oh, yeah.
The city. Yes. I hope the city has to pay through the nose. And you mentioned this, that they have to cut back services in order to make good on the judgment. I hope it hurts bad.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, 314-912-1019. You know downtown's filling up right now, right?
Yeah.
You think you're going to go out there like, hey, the game starts at 3. I'll run out there about 1 o'clock. you're going to be parking in Chesterfield.
taking the bus.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Or get on the metro train. Nothing could go wrong with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, 314-912-1019. You going? Look, let me know. Let me know. I want to see some pictures from everybody, too, later today. Right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Kim Patton from Comprehensive Integrative Healthcare. Kim, you focus on the treating of neuropathy. What are the signs of neuropathy?
The most common symptoms are numbness, burning, cramping, usually in the hands and feet.
Tell me about the success you're having with your Restore Neuropathy treatment program.
Tim, our program includes 8 distinct steps, offering a unique experience from other treatments. No surgery, no addictive medications, and we are seeing a success rate of 95%.
Kim, that is incredible. How can people learn more?
Visit us online at CIH.health. That's CIH.health.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Does your life insurance plan include living benefits, hearing, diabetic supplies, teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones? Larry Connors here. I suggest you call Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Call 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. If you are sick and tired of the corporate news bubble, if you like unedited information free from corporate money, if you want straight talk with no script, join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on The Rob Carter Show.
Live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Bilbo Bot on Rumble in the chat box reminded us today's actually an anniversary of a tragic historic event. April 4th, 1968 is the day that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
I remember it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So just wanted to mention that as well. I'll be really honest. Had Bilbo not sent that on Rumble, I would have forgotten until later on today when I get into some more of the news and stuff.
Yeah.
So thanks for the reminder on
Same,
that.
yeah.
All right, 8:53 right now. Got Gabe here, Stell here. I'm Mike. Of course, opening day with the Cardinals. And I'm so glad opening day is always in the daytime. Was it 2 years ago, I think it was, where was it? It was either opening day or opening weekend. There were a bunch of smash and grabs and parking lots around the stadium. And now they're trying to up, obviously security and more cameras and more officers and more security guards and all of those sorts of things as well. But there are on most of the local TV news media, the newspaper news media, all those, there are places where you can find and say, here's where to go to park. Now, I'm one of those where I'm kind of mixed. I don't want to get on the metro. I'm not doing it.
No.
I'm not riding the bus in. I'm not riding the little thing. I'm just not doing it. But if you get in early enough, I used to park. There was a parking lot that has a fence around it just south of the stadium, kind of down there where the Oyster Bar is and the Blues Bar and all that kind of stuff. And I had a punch card, and I could, I think it was like every 10th time I parked there, I got a free parking, which I didn't really care about, although I used it.
I know exactly which lot you're thinking of because I've got the punch card sitting on our kitchen table.
Yep.
You're
Because
right.
it's got a fence around it.
Yes.
It was just, just right there south of like Dobbs Tires.
Yep.
That
And a
area
guy
right there.
guarding it,
yes,
too.
and a guy guarding it right there. And it was, I think it was a couple bucks more than the others, but not that
But
much
it was
more.
worth it.
Worth every penny.
Mhm.
The one place I hate to park is that parking structure with the, the white concrete on the outside where you go up the really tight spirals to
One of
get
the
up there.
stadium garages.
Right next to the stadium. When you get ready to leave the game, you will be in there for hours.
Mhm.
You might as well just leave the stadium and go to a restaurant, check into the hotel, spend the night, and then go. Maybe
go get your car.
Maybe you can go get your car after that. I did that one time, and I'm like, I couldn't even back out for like an hour.
Oh,
There's
man.
just no way that. But it's going to be full because it's a short walk.
Mhm.
City Hall even has fairly cheap parking there. I think it's like $10 or something like that. So you walk a few blocks, but it's not that bad. But then again, the farther you get out from the stadium, the less people are watching what happens out there. And let's be honest, it's downtown St. Louis. So you're taking your chances. I wonder if you live close enough, if you're not better off just getting like an Uber or a Lyft to go in and drop you off and then get one to go home, which if you do that, you're going to be waiting for a while for the car to come get you at the end. But that might be the best way to go. If you get there early enough, like when I used to go to the games at night still, which now I'm just going to go to a day game, you could go and park in any of those lots and not have a big deal. But, you have to consider the safety. And, of course, don't leave anything in your car that even hints that you might have something very valuable in your car because it is downtown St. Louis. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Gosh, downtown St. Louis. Every time I think about going down there, I get hives.
Yeah.
It feels like it anyway.
Yeah. I hope to get to a couple of Battlehawks games this year, but I'm only going to the ones in the daytime.
Yep.
I'll go to some Cardinals games, but I only go to the midday games. That's what St. Louis's mismanagement and lack of focus on basic public safety services. That's how it's affected me, and those are the changes that I'm making on that.
Gabe, that's like you and Janet going to the daytime Blues game.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
If there's a Blues game in the daytime and we can kind of figure it out, we're kind of jumping on that. And we have this past season. But, all the night games, they were out. It's like I'm not walking around downtown there.
All right, Vic Porcelli coming your way here in about 6 minutes on this opening day for the St. Louis Cardinals. Don't forget, Larry Connors is speaking tonight at the St. Louis City Republican meeting in South City. So just look up St. Louis City Republicans, and you can get their information and where they're going to be. That's on Southampton or Hampton. And so you can check that out. It's always a good time. All right, good luck, Cardinals. Let's go.
Hey, everybody, it's Rob Carter. Mike and Beverly Sloan are the visionary minds behind Living the Elite Life, a coaching program that extends their expertise to empower others in the realms of mindset, fitness, health, sobriety, and relationships. If you need just a little push to make your life a lot better, give them a call, 636-248-9799, or email beverlysloan1@gmail.com.
I'm always glad to have new sponsors, but I have turned some down. See, I only endorse clients if I believe in them. And I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. Through those years, listeners said they went with John Beal because they trusted me. And just recently, a woman named Mary wrote, "We got a John Beal roof based on your recommendation." Thank you, Mary, and all the others for calling John Beal. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Hey there, heroes. Ready to unleash your inner superhero and support our first responders? Join us as a volunteer on April 12th for an unforgettable trivia night hosted by the David Dorn Foundation. Imagine yourself proudly sporting a Dorn Foundation t-shirt, standing side by side with our brave first responders. It's more than just trivia. It's your chance to be part